Our new partner who I'm really, really excited to announce we are working with. Super, super stoked. Thank you, Angie Huberman, for this connect. It's incredible. AG1 Athletic Greens. I've been using them for a while. I have them every morning on an empty stomach. Basically, take one scoop and you put it into a cup or glass or mug of 8 ounces of cold water. And this is all your greens for the day. You're absorbing 75 high-quality vitamins, minerals, whole food source superfoods, probiotics, and adaptogens. Every day I take this. It's so good for my digestion, my energy. It's simple. It's easy. I don't like taking a lot of vitamins. This has been really, really helpful for me. I've had a lot of stomach issues my whole life, and ever since I've been gluten-free and taking the AG1s, it's really helped me in my stomach in the mornings. I love it, and I'm so psyched that they're part of the One Life One Chance podcast. I'm sure a lot of people don't like eating greens, let alone drinking your greens, but I can tell you straight up, it's got a mild tropical taste, and the taste is actually really refreshing, and I really look forward to it each morning. Don't think it's just going to be just straight bland. It tastes really, really good, and it's good for you, so remember that. This one blend of ingredients supports your gut health, your nervous system, your immune system, your energy, recovery, focus, and aging. It's incredible, just one scoop, especially for musicians who are vegans or just musicians in general who want to get those daily greens. You can get the packets. It's incredible. I just gave some to my friend Derek from Sepultura. He traveled the whole entire world this summer, and he had those every single day. He said it saved him. I bring AG1s with me when I travel. It helps me stay healthy. You know the deal. If you're on tour and you are a picky eater, but you need to have your greens, sometimes catering doesn't have greens. Sometimes you miss the catering. Sometimes you miss the backstage food. Sometimes it's too late after the show to go get food that you like. So if you just have a scoop of AG1s in your hotel room before you go to bed, or you're in the hotel room at night and you're starving and you want something healthy, boom, life changer. Right now, it's time to reclaim your health and arm your immune system with some convenient daily nutrition. That's all you need, one scoop in a cup every day. That's it. No need for a million different pills and supplements to look out for your health. This is it. I'm super psyched. And to make it easy, Athletic Greens is going to give you a free 1-year supply of immune-supporting vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. All you have to do is visit drinkag1.com/OLLC. That's drinkag1.com/OLLC. Take ownership over your health and pick up the ultimate daily nutritional insurance. This is incredible. I love it. It's just basic greens. For me personally, this has changed my life tremendously. I'm not a junk food vegan. I don't eat a lot of fake meats, so I'm strictly greens. And this has been a wonderful, wonderful new addition to my life. So once again, visit drinkag1.com/OLLC. That's drinkag1.com/OLLC. Get 1 free year supply of immune-supporting vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. That's drinkag1.com/OLLC. Yo, Liquid Death, thank you so much for hydrating all my guests, taking care of me and my family and my friends. Love your water, love your brand, love what you stand for, love what you give back to the community. If you want to learn more about Liquid Death and how it started, listen to episode 115. With the co-founder, owner, and creator of Liquid Death, Mike Cesario. Just a punk rock skateboarding kid from Delaware with a dream. It's an incredible story, incredible journey. So if you go liquiddeath.com/Toby, you get free shipping on any items you order from liquiddeath.com. And if you want to get water, Liquid Death water, go to amazon.com. But for merchandise and other things that's not water, go to liquiddeath.com/Toby and get free shipping. Thank you so much, Liquid Death. Death to plastic, murder your thirst, stay hydrated. You know H2O saves lives.
Damn.
Let's just talk about it because now I'm recording.
All right.
But like every time I have people on this podcast from West or like bands that are from New York, they always say that about New York bands. I don't know, just the vibe or whatever the stigma was about, I don't know, the New York bands. I don't know. It's weird.
It's intimidation, but it's not necessarily on purpose. It's just you. I think as New Yorkers or East Coast in general, you kind of have a different swagger, a different vibe.
Definitely.
And we're not used to it. You know, we're small town guys.
Yeah.
Right? So like we came from Bremerton, Washington. It's a Navy town.
Yeah.
It's military, and we're seeing things for the first time a lot of time. You know, and so I feel like it's just. You guys over there have to survive the streets, whatever it is. That's in my mind. Okay, these guys are hard.
And then we think about the ocean out here.
Yeah.
It's different.
And now I'm just all zen out here on the West Coast. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been here for like over 20 years, so like, I'm a totally different person. I can't imagine living in New York again, you know?
Yeah. Do you snap up? Will you get that attitude now and again? The New
I feel
York?
like being an East Coaster, you do have like I don't know, a little bit of something over people who are just from out here. I don't know, different edge, I guess.
You got to when you visit, it's got to come out more too. Like,
Totally.
Yeah.
And we got Bobby Hundreds here. Say what's up, Bobby.
Hi, everyone.
Hello.
I'm here.
What's up, Bobby?
I told Bobby I was having you guys on the podcast. Oh, by the way, welcome to the podcast. Welcome to the One Life One Chance podcast. I didn't do my intro. I got my kind of co-host here, Bobby Hundreds, today, who's a big fan of you guys.
Huge.
And I got Mike and Tom here from MxPx. So thank you guys for being here.
Glad to be here. Thank you.
Thank you.
When I mentioned we're going to have you on a couple of days ago, we're like, oh my God.
Yeah. I ran into Toby at Sound and Fury, and he said, I have MxPx this week. And I don't remember ever being like, I need to be there for that specific, like, I have to be there for that guest. And he was like, yeah, I don't know what it is. You guys have always felt so inaccessible and mysterious.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
It's
I
kinda
mean,
cool.
there are world famous, like, bands that are, pop culture superstars that I feel like are very much within arm's reach.
Yeah.
And then there are bands that are just entirely obscure and independent or just so underground
We're
that.
from the woods up in the Northwest.
But
like
something
Northern
about
California
you
to
guys,
everyone.
it was like a blend of everything, where we all have just such fun memories and relationships with the band and with the music. But I was just like, I kind of liked the idea that you were untouchable.
I like
And
that
now
too.
they're touchable, right?
Yeah. So when he was like, they're going to be in the house, I was like, I kind of have to like just see them, that they exist. They're not an idea.
Oh, because you weren't like from like New York or LA or something, or just like
No, I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
It's just everyone I know has been like, oh, I met that band, or I went and saw and hung out with so-and-so, and everyone can get to each other. But I'm like, what about MxPx? They're like, oh, dude, I was a huge fan. Or, they are still fans, and they're just like, I don't know how to get to them. So that was my first question when I asked
Do you-
you,
yeah, do you
how
feel
did
that?
you connect with them?
Yeah. Do you feel that way? You guys feel like you're unapproachable or not?
I don't know about unapproachable. We definitely talked about it recently, though, like how different things would have been if we grew up and we lived down in Orange County or something like that. Because we would have been around everything, like going to like parties at people's houses and just running into people at the grocery store or whatever. But like it's just different. Like we come down to visit and we got some things we're doing, and then we get out again. You know,
I kind of like that though. It's
It's-
like kind of off the grid, I guess.
it's fun. It's fun. I mean, I love where we live. It's very green and beautiful, and like it's right now it's like hotter than here. Honestly, it's crazy up there.
Dang.
It's great, but yeah, we always wonder like what would it have been like if we were just there, like hanging all the time. Like, hey, we're gonna do Warped Tour. Do you think you want to jump on it? Oh, sure. So like
Yeah.
getting calls and like just running into people at like shows.
Yeah. Did you feel like you had to like kind of prove yourself even more because you weren't from like LA or New York? You come from where you came from to get into the world that you're in now, where people were acceptable of you guys because you didn't come from OC or New York or these Chicago, anywhere like that.
Yeah, I mean, we always had to kind of like push ourselves even more. I think it was more of just like we pushed ourselves.
Yeah.
Not necessarily feeling the pressure of people pushing us, but everybody always thought we were from Southern California.
Me too.
Even
Yeah.
in our hometown, people were like, yeah, MxPx, they're from California, right? Like, no, we're from here. We're here. But we had that sound. We sounded like, obviously, the Descendants a
Yes.
little bit. I'm not saying we sound like the Descendants, but
Big influence.
influence,
Huge.
huge.
Yeah.
So we just ran with that, and discovering punk rock and hardcore all kind of the same time. I would say we got into hardcore pretty early.
Yeah, it was like, I mean, I was listening to like Metallica and Pearl Jam, and all of a sudden a friend of mine gave me a copy of Bad Religion, No Control, and a copy
Nice.
of Live Edge, and I was just in. And then like, I swear, like maybe like a couple months later, it was Gorilla Biscuits and like Youth of Today, and all. It was just like
Nice.
It
Yeah.
was like it was right, like it was all just flooding in, like give me more. This is what I do now. This is me.
How old were you guys?
I think I was 14 or 15.
Yeah.
Something
Yeah,
like
it
that.
was early
yeah.
on. It was so MxPx started in '92, so it was
Yeah.
the summer before high school for us, and everything like Violent Femmes. It was so eclectic, like the things that I was kind of into. But then as I started going to local shows, then I started getting more into like just the straight punk bands, like you said, Bad Religion,
Yeah.
Black Flag, all that.
Classics.
Descendants, of course. Yeah,
Yeah.
all the classics. The Clash. Tom's a huge Clash fan. He kind of brought the Clash to us and was like, check this out,
Yeah.
the Clampdown, all these songs
Yeah.
that
Yes.
we didn't
It's
know
just-
about.
The thing I love about that band too is just like every record was just so different. It's
Yeah.
so just like they're just like, oh cool, like they kind of like reggae, and you can tell from the first records there's like Police and Thieves, but then like they kind of get more and more just like sometimes they go deep in the rabbit hole of it, and it's great.
Yeah, Sandinista was like a really different one, right?
Yeah, they were just all over the place on that one, just everywhere.
That's what Life Won't Wait reminds me.
Kind of, yeah, I can see that, yeah.
Because there's such a big influence on Rancid too.
Yeah.
But I love that like Joe Strummer went to New York, he fell in love with hip hop, like
Yeah.
just the different styles he brought into punk. I love that too.
Yeah,
It's
great.
So did you guys grow up together?
Yeah. So like, I think I met Mike first day of high school because Yuri was in a band with him over the summer, and we went to different junior highs. And first day of school is like Yuri's like, "Hey, I want you to meet my friend Mike. We're playing this band together." I was like, "Oh, no way!" And since then,
Yeah.
every
Wow.
day, every
Yeah.
day.
So it's weird because, growing up in where we grew up, it's kind of spread out.
Yeah.
People from your school, a few other people from other schools, but you can't really get around. Like I remember I skateboarded. I learned to love skateboarding because I would use it to go to my girlfriend's house, which was like
Transportation.
2 miles away.
Yeah.
And it's just on this back road, like no city, no blocks or anything, just county road. I'm sure it's kind of like Jersey or something like that,
Yeah.
It's that vibe. So, back in those days, it was you had a tight group, but you didn't necessarily meet a lot of people. We didn't meet a lot of people until we started going to shows, which was high school.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And do you remember your first show that you went to?
My first show was a local show at like this community hall that doesn't even exist anymore in Bremerton. But God, who was it? It was like, I don't even remember. Like a bunch of local bands.
Local bands.
Probably Bad Juju was there. They
Bad
were like
Juju,
very Bad Religion-y, like one of those bands that were like, oh, they sound just like all those other. They sound amazing. They sound so
Yeah.
good. Like they sound like a
Dude.
record.
We would not be a band if not for that local band, Bad Juju.
That's
'cause
true.
Oh,
Yes.
wow.
I would go down to their house. The bass player's house was like a quarter mile from my house. And Lumpy. Yeah, shout out Lumpy. Anyway, so I'd go and watch their band practice and just like, oh my gosh. And I didn't play bass yet or anything. And that was like, okay, I think I could do this. I was just trying to sing.
Yeah.
And had a couple misfit kids, trying to do stuff. But we never could play a song. Like we were just like, I was like trying to get these guys together. And finally, when I finally met Yuri, Tom's actually not the original guitar player.
Mm-hmm.
So I met Andy was my the first guitar player of MxPx, Andy Husted. But he was my childhood friend. And then once I met Tom, it was kind of like it switched a little bit. Sorry, Andy. Still love you. It was weird at the time, because you don't know how to kick somebody out of a band because Andy wasn't showing up to band practice.
Mm-hmm.
He wasn't taking anything seriously.
He didn't want to go on tour.
He didn't want to go on tour.
Which I couldn't believe. Like, how do you not want to go jump in a van and go play around the country?
Didn't want to ask his parents.
Okay.
Yeah.
That was I think it was a little bit of
His
that.
parents
It
were
was
strict or something?
very strict.
Okay.
And just like, no, they didn't like the band. So like, there's all these like barriers you face as a kid that seem kind of silly now, but I mean, it is true that, you can't necessarily do anything you want to do as a kid.
No.
Your parents are going to tell you, all right, kid, do this, do that. Yuri, on the other hand, he got grounded from the band a couple
Oh
times.
yeah.
And we're
Get your grades up, or you're not going to play with the band anymore.
Yeah, Yuri's our drummer, for anybody wondering. So when I met Yuri, that's when MxPx started, and then I met him. I met you, and then he joined the band about a year later.
Yeah.
Okay. Were your parents cool about you guys playing music? Obviously, they weren't really strict.
Yeah, my dad, when I got in the band, I was like, Dad, I need like a real guitar amp, and so like he like loaned me some money to buy a half stack, and
Nice.
went on our first tour, and like I came back with enough money to like between the shows we'd played locally and like scraping together money, and I paid him back like the last little bit after our first tour, and he was like, I honestly wrote that money off when I gave it to you. I thought I'd never see it again.
Wow.
And I was like, I was so stoked to be like, nah, I paid you back, man. But yeah, it was like they were supportive, and they got it, and like, okay, they're going out and they're playing shows, and they have this CD now, cool. But like, I don't think they really like fully appreciate it till they start hearing us on the radio, or like their
Wow.
friends would mention, hey, I heard about your son's band, and be like, really? Why did you hear about my son's band? Like, that's
That's
when I think it
awesome.
started clicking to them.
And so you guys were in school while you're in the band, obviously.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so did it
high
affect
school.
your grades or anything like that? Were you guys good students?
No, I was like a solid 2.5. Yeah.
I was like just good enough. I've always been like the just good enough. Get
Yeah.
it done. So like I remember painting this fence for this doctor guy that my mom like cleaned his house
Okay.
when I was a kid, and she got me hired to do this job, and I'm like doing all this maintenance at his house, and I'm painting this fence, and it just looked terrible. I know. I was just like, okay, maybe he won't notice.
Yeah.
And so I leave. I get the call later, like, dude, you got to come back and finish this. This is terrible. It's sloppy. So like, I feel like that was my high school years, like doing just enough to get by.
Yeah, the last
Just
half,
getting the grades to pass, too.
Just getting enough.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
the last half of our senior year, we started really kind of doing things. Like we were flying out on weekends or driving down to other places. Like we were getting notes
Yeah.
from our parents, like, please excuse Tom from school on Friday. He has to fly to Nashville for a show. Like,
wow.
And like our parents, like they supported it, and like, but the attendance officer would be like, "What is this?" Or like,
Yeah.
"It's real." I don't know.
Did you do a showcase in your backyard for Tooth and Nail? Is that true? Play in your backyard?
Sort of. Well, our first show was in my backyard.
Yeah.
So that was July 6th. But
Do you remember
then,
the date too? Wow.
Yeah, I remember the date.
That's
July
awesome.
6th, 1992. So that's what we consider our first show
Okay.
and our first, when the band
It's a
started.
band birthday.
But
No, I said you remember that, but I have my band's first show tattooed.
well, yeah.
Oh, you do? Oh my God.
12/30/94, just to remember it. Yeah.
Amazing.
You're gonna have a hard time
Amazing.
forgetting.
Exactly.
Yeah, but Tooth and Nail, a couple months. I don't know if it was a month, half a month later, or it was a while later. We did a few shows. It was at least 6 months later. We met Aaron Sprinkle at a show, and he was a producer. Well, he was trying to be a producer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He's a producer now. But at the time, he was just a band guy. He played for a band called Poor Old Lou, and they're from Seattle, kind of alternative, not really punk. But we're like taking any gig we can. And it was very eclectic as far as the scene goes. Like, there wasn't any bands that sounded anything like the Descendants or anything like that at the time in our area like that. But we just made it happen as far as that goes. Like, I'm trying to think, like,
Had you played? That was your first show, and then Tooth and Nail's there.
Okay, yeah, Tooth and Nail.
That's
Sorry,
crazy.
yeah, Tooth and Nail, because of Brandon Aaron Sprinkle told Brandon from Tooth and Nail, dude, these kids, check them out. And so he came to my garage and hung out at our practice area in the garage. And it was like, all right, I really want to do something with you guys. So at first it was going to be a 7-inch, and he heard what we did, and he's like, no, let's do a full length. And so he did a full length. And
you're like 15 years old at that point?
Yeah, 15.
That's crazy, man.
Yeah.
About that, like 15, 16, somewhere in there, just starting to drive. It was wild because, you have some record label guy coming and flashing $2 bills at you. So I remember when we signed to the label, and he's kind of just like, yeah, if you want to get a lawyer or not. And Andy, our original guitar player, his parents were like, maybe we should get a lawyer. And we're like, nah.
Someone wants to put a record out for us. We'll do it. We'll do it.
That's
Yeah.
boring.
So no lawyer?
That's not
No
punk.
lawyer.
Wow.
No. So
That's
we
crazy.
just went for it. We had our parents co-sign for us because we were too young. We weren't 18.
Yeah.
Um,
That's insane.
Small town kids, it's like, let's take advantage of this.
Someone wanted to put our record out.
But you could have got a lawyer if you wanted to. He wasn't saying
We could have.
no.
Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely, we could have. Yes. He
And
did say you probably don't need one. But
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of course he did.
Yeah.
And so that's like a Christian label, punk label, right?
Yeah, Christian punk.
And so you
label,
guys
yeah.
Christian kids?
I was a youth group kid. Like,
Okay.
I grew up
Yeah.
going to youth group, all that.
Okay.
And then discovered punk rock, later. Of
Yeah.
course.
Did your parents trip on that, being a Christian, listen to that type of music? Or
My parents kind of
hear about Bad
lot.
Religion? Like that
Yeah.
name alone is kind of shocking.
Right. You would think they would be strict about it, but my parents were hippies.
Okay.
And I think they were new Christians at the time.
Okay.
So they didn't really know, don't let your kid listen to that. They didn't know, don't let your kid go stay at his girlfriend's house at night or whatever, like things like that.
I'm almost positive. Like I wore the Crossbuster shirt to like school and had to turn it inside out one
I'm
day
sure.
from one of the teachers, and I was
Yeah.
like, "Why? What's the big deal? It's
Yeah.
a band. I love them. They're great."
That's still like a shocking logo to this day to people.
To
when they
some
see it, for
people, yeah,
sure,
but it's like,
Yeah.
chill.
might be one of the punkest logos if you think about
It's
it.
pretty punk.
Yeah.
I mean,
That, yeah.
growing up and going to youth group, all that, like it's just kind of what I knew, right? So getting into punk rock was just, to me, it was normal. It was just like being part of being a kid. I was into skateboarding, getting into hardcore, all that. For me, it was just like, okay, this is the next thing that I'm into. I
Yeah.
never thought, oh, is this at odds with what your core beliefs are?
Yeah,
this or
yeah,
that?
yeah.
I mean, along the same lines, when we started listening to hardcore, I started, drawing X's on my hands. Went straight edge
Nice.
for no real. I mean, I didn't have any issues, no drug issues. or
Yeah,
anything,
yeah.
Like
You weren't partying nothing before that?
I mean, I
Artie
got
didn't
drunk in
drink.
4th grade,
Okay.
but I didn't go back to it. It wasn't a life of craziness after that. It was
Yeah.
just kind of like, wow, okay. It
But
was
if you listen
funny.
to Gorilla Biscuits youth today, like, wow, this is sick. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. It was, Gorilla Biscuits were my number one hardcore band for sure.
Nice.
I
I don't remember what song it was, but I remember in like maybe 11th grade, I did like a little like you play a song in front of the class and you give everyone a copy of the lyrics and you talk about what the lyrics mean to you. And I can't remember what song it was, but it was like
One of those off of that record?
That was
Probably
on
Start Today or something.
I can't remember what song it was, but it was one of those ones. Yeah.
All of Us.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
It always starts with Gorilla Biscuits.
Yeah. My claim to fame is that I sang backup on that record.
You did?
The whole record.
Oh, so good.
Yeah, I lived with Gorilla Biscuits when I was 18 during
So
the
good.
making of
That's
that record.
awesome.
Yeah.
See,
It's my claim to fame. It's the first time
That's
I
why I
recorded.
love them so much.
Thank you.
Hearing your
It's all my
voice.
backups. Thank you.
I'm like,
That's
who's
it.
that guy in the back?
I told
over
Siv
there?
it's his fault to have a band because that was it. My first time recording in the studio was at their record.
You're hooked.
But they changed my
Yeah.
life too, man, in a million ways.
Yeah.
So so obviously you find Gorilla Biscuits, you probably find a bunch of the New York stuff too at that point, right?
Yeah, our merch guy, we found Gary just on tour early on, and he was in Texas, and he just came with us, just like left his life, got in the van, and he introduced us to Sick of It All. He had a Sick of It All.
He had a Sick of It All
tattoo.
tattoo.
Sick.
Yeah.
So all that, yeah, it was dope. Like we're like, what is that? Oh, and so I mean, for us, we should have known about Sick of It All already, but we didn't.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
It was one of those things too. Back in those days, you'd get the CD and it'd have the catalog in it, and you'd be like, "I've never heard of that." There was no YouTube to go listen to it.
Yeah,
But you're like,
Yeah.
"I'm buying this sight unseen because it's on Revelation and it's got to be good."
Totally.
Yep.
It's the same
Yeah.
thing like with Victory Records and all those other ones.
Yeah.
Everybody bought everything. Even Epitaph too. It was all the
Epitaph,
Punkoramas.
Lookout, Fat. It was like that through high school, like, you know. And then you're waiting 4 weeks for you mailed a check to someone.
Yeah.
You know, like,
Yeah.
Kids were so loyal to those labels.
Mhm.
Anything they put out, they check out. That was
Yep.
that was an amazing time. And those samplers, the CDs and cassettes.
Oh yeah.
So many people. The Warped Tour comps.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That's
Everybody
right.
got those for free, so
Those were
everybody heard
rad.
your band. Yeah.
And it was always one of those things too with the okay, Ranted's out on Epitaph. I don't know who they are. I heard one of the guys in Operation Ivy's in or something. Oh, one person
Yeah.
would buy it, and then everyone would have a tape copy and be like, "Oh my God, they're the greatest band. This is amazing."
so good.
Yeah.
I feel like you guys did that for Tooth and Nail too, right?
Yeah,
There's
I feel
probably
mean,
part
sure.
of it.
Yeah, I
Mm.
feel like
so
probably
many
part
of
of it.
those bands. I mean, they were great, but you guys were the headliner, and people were coming for that, and then they were discovering Focal Point or Overcome or these other Tooth and Nail bands.
Focused.
Yeah.
Focus.
Another-
Yeah.
another
Early.
hardcore down
Wow,
here.
that was. Do you
We
remember
used to
Focus?
stay.
No, I don't.
We used to stay with Tim when we came down here. Our first couple
Wow.
tours down in Long Beach.
Yeah.
Shout out Tim. What's
Yeah.
up? Yeah, I mean, Tooth and Nail was definitely at the very beginning when we got signed, and of course, so were we. So it was
Yeah.
perfect. It really changed our lives as far as obviously now we're still in a band after all these
Yeah.
years, but so I don't regret any of that. Tooth and Nail, all of that. It's helped us grow. It's helped us become who we are today. We've learned a ton. We've learned
Yeah.
not to hold grudges. For a long time, if you asked me about Tooth and Nail,
Oh yeah.
I would start talking, start yapping. But at the same time, it's no, we've learned a lot, and in fact, I'm glad they did that because I wouldn't be here probably in the same aspect how I am.
Yeah. So you guys basically just graduated and just went on tour.
Oh, yeah.
No, we graduated school Monday, shot our first video on Tuesday, and went on tour for 2 months on Wednesday.
Wow,
Yeah.
man.
Straight out of high school.
And all you wanted to do at that point was just music. There wasn't any other goals you pushed to the side or anything or ambitions.
No,
It was just
didn't.
music.
Didn't have anything.
Never.
That was it. And it was. We got home from that tour, and it went okay. We didn't die. Our van blew up a little bit.
The van did blow up.
Yeah, we blew up. We blew our engine on our first tour. Had to buy all new. It was a pain in the ass. But man, we got home from that, and immediately it was well, we should do another one, right? Let's go on tour this fall, and hey, maybe we should record some more. And it was just it just snowballed.
Started
into
going.
Yeah, just kept
decades
going.
later, it was oh God, we've been doing that for a minute now.
A long time, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how long were you guys on Tooth and Nail before you went to A&M? Was it a while?
It was 97, 8, somewhere in 97.
97.
Because the first record came out in 94. That was
Yeah.
the first
Yeah.
one, yeah.
It was 3 years, yeah. But then
You guys have a lot of records, too. I feel like such a loser every time my band's been together 30 years. We have 7 albums. And I look at your roster of albums, it's we're lazy, bro. You see these bands that work so hard, they have so many records out.
I feel
Yeah,
like we
it's
just. I
crazy.
feel like we had to iterate over and over to just keep finding out who we want to sound like or what we want to sound like.
Yeah.
And of course, we want to sound like us, but.
I mean,
Poking
if you-
After is our
yeah.
first album. It's
Yep.
it's like a hardcore record, kinda, but it's we didn't have a producer that knew hardcore at all. We're Aaron Sprinkle was just literally recording. All right, do it. You're done. You got through it. Okay, you're done. We didn't know
Yeah.
about overdubs
Oh,
on our
shit.
first album.
No overdubs. Okay.
Literally no overdubs.
Damn.
So I mean, it's not necessarily all recorded together live, but it was okay, your drums are done. Go in there and play bass. All right, one time through, done. Go in there, sing it. One time through, done. All right, you screwed up that one word. I guess we can do one overdub. So I guess technically there was a couple overdubs.
It was more like do it again. Like, hey, you messed up, start over.
The whole song. Yeah, I remember doing that.
But if you listen to, like, you was talking about, like, trying to figure out who we were with the band and all that. If you listen to Poking At Ya, to Teenage Politics, Life in General, it's like 3 different bands. If you kind of it just, like, we were just, and I think being on the road too, playing every night, it just really just kind of focused us up a bit more and tightened us up. Because by the time we got to Life in General, it was like, we knew what we were doing and we felt like we were pros in the studio or something. It was like,
yeah, right.
it just focused us up, and like we had like this shared, like, being on the road, and like there's a song called New York to Nowhere on Life in General where we had played CBGBs and we were driving to like somewhere in Illinois, middle of nowhere, and we drove into just a full-on ice storm and we got broke down, like just stuck on the side of the freeway, like just solid ice. Everyone, some truck jackknifed, and we were there all night. Like Mike stayed up starting the van like every 20 minutes just to keep the heat running.
Wow.
But we were almost out of gas, so we couldn't, like, we were like,
couldn't leave it on.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, I wrote a song in the front with my guitar. I grabbed my guitar and I was writing that song. So like that kind of stuff is like, when you do that, it actually gets remembered.
Yeah, man.
So like, I don't remember like the song I wrote in the studio right before we recorded it.
Yeah.
Because there wasn't as much like push and pull. And
was that your first time playing CB's and going to New York?
Yeah. We only played there once, right?
Yeah, it was only that one time. I think that was our first time there too.
Yeah.
Who'd you play there with? Do you remember?
I don't even remember.
Oh, dude, I don't know.
That's a legendary spot, though. It's cool.
Yeah.
It was, we definitely weren't headlining. We were just kind of one of the bands.
Yeah.
And we knew, you know, we were like in there going like,
oh yeah, I bought a shirt that day because I'm like, I'm playing CBGBs tonight. This is crazy.
Yeah, it was dope. It was cool. And we were just kids, so we were just like, you could have told us, go sit in that corner, and we would have just done that.
Yeah.
You know, like, we were so malleable.
Yeah.
Go sit in the one toilet when you open the door. It's just right in front of you, no door.
Yeah.
I would use that bathroom a lot with no stall.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was sketchy. Man. The first album's title, it comes, the name's after like a candy bar or something
Poking At Ya. It's a candy bar commercial.
Okay.
Yeah, we were just like, Yuri and was talking about it one day, and it just sounded funny to us. When long about noon, when your appetite's poking at you.
Yeah.
It's a really dumb joke that just got.
It's like magnified plaid. All these things that we thought were
magnified
really cool.
plaid, the name. Yeah.
All these things we thought were great when we were like 14 and 15 years old. That we're like, could have done better, but whatever. There it is.
Does that change anything else? Magnified plaid? Did you figure out any other ways you could use?
We just always. People started saying MxPx pretty early on because Yuri would write our flyers or draw our flyers and write M and then small x and then P and then small x. And people just start saying MxPx. And at this point, we knew about NoFX. Like, they were around and definitely around way before us, but we had just kind of discovered them. So it had nothing to do with that. I think it was more to do with Social Distortion.
Yeah,
so
they had SXDX on a couple of their records.
Oh, yeah.
DX.
Oh, yeah.
Love Social D, man.
And we knew, you don't say SXDX, you say SD. Or
SD,
Social Distortion.
yeah.
But nobody else in our town knew. When they saw MxPx, they said MxPx.
It was also one of those things, too. You make flyers, right? And you write magnified plaid, and it's really small and long across the top, and you can't see it. You write MxPx, and you can make it kind of big.
Yeah.
Big.
Like just H2O. It's just right there. It's way bigger, right? You know,
it just stuck.
It reads
like
better
that.
on a flyer.
It works.
Yeah.
Somebody told me that NoFX meant no fucking straight edge. I asked Mike on the podcast.
Yeah.
I said,
oh, they said no?
Yeah, Mike said no. Well, no, I asked him straight up. Yeah.
Wow.
No.
I feel like I've been lied to.
I like X's in anything though. I like the ring to MxPx. Yeah. So you guys just on tour? You're doing it. Are you working jobs when you're coming home between tours?
No.
Are you living on your own after that first tour?
No, living with we're all with our parents still. We're like kids, and I worked a job in high school. So when we were starting the band, I worked at Spiro's Pizza and Pasta.
Nice.
And I got a job for Yuri there, and so Yuri and I worked there, washing
I
dishes.
couldn't get hired. They wouldn't hire me.
They're like, not this guy. But so we had some good time. I discovered Pennywise there. I discovered a ton of bands, in high school, as I was already trying to do MxPx. So like, it wasn't like all these bands were in my head and then I started MxPx. It was like literally, I know about the Dead Milkmen, and so like, it's funny because Tom used to play drums and then he moved over guitar, and one of his bands was metal, or all your bands were pretty heavy.
Yeah, pretty much.
There was a ton of heavy bands, a ton of metal, death metal, and all the punk bands were heavier. And so when we came on the scene, they would kind of make fun of us. They'd be like, "Who's this?" Ding, 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 playing like a clean guitar. Oh, that's MxPx. Because we sounded so light compared to, and I'm talking even like the early stuff like Poking At Ya, that's just all da 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 da. that was light in our area.
I would say the same for us in New York. Everything was super hard and tough and street. And our first 7-inch, it was like a love song, a poppy song. Because I grew up on Melody too, and I loved Descendants and all those bands. But I lived in New York, and people thought I was gonna be like chugga chugga and like super hard. So people we got some pushback too as well for being too melodic,
Everything
not hard enough.
Yeah.
You know
That's
what I
the
mean?
thing. All these years later, those songs hold up. Those H2O songs hold up. They're great.
Yeah, thank you.
Everything can't be break down the walls.
There's only one Uther today. So you guys are just touring, and it becomes full time, and you're nonstop on the road, pretty much, right?
Pretty much, yeah. I mean, it's weird because when you're a kid and you go from being a kid to an adult, you don't notice. Like, so we were just living our lives, and all of a sudden we're like 21. All of a sudden we're 23.
You're growing up on the road together.
Up,
yeah.
Like,
it's crazy.
We didn't even drink that much before we were 21 or anything, even though we weren't technically, calling ourselves straight edge or anything. But like, it was just all of a sudden, like, it occurred to us, oh, you can go into a bar now. Because back in the day when we'd play Portland, we'd play wherever, we'd have to go, like, the Satyricon is what I'm thinking of, and in Portland, Oregon. It's just this little punk club. I don't know if it's even still around. And they would make you sit in this little area if you were under 21. And so we'd sit in there all night long, and they put us on at 2 a.m. Like, you could have just put us on earlier and let us go home, and it's a 3-hour drive home. So it's just like, oh my God. So I mean, we had been doing that kind of thing for so long, as far as just staying up late, being told what to do, being like, okay, do this, do that. And so I think it just suited us to be, all right, here's our tour dates, figure it out. Cars, the van's busted, figure it out.
You guys just barely got your licenses too, probably, when you start going on tour, right?
Yeah, I mean,
it's
crazy.
Straight out of high school.
We brought out a friend of mine that was 25.
Specifically,
and we were 18.
Babysit.
Well, no, so we brought him specifically so if we broke down, he could rent a car.
I was going to say, that's got to be a rental
25
car
years
thing.
old. Yeah, it was a rental car thing. Fully. Like, we need an insurance policy here in case we just get stranded.
So by the time you guys get to the third record, Life in Germany, you guys are like building up our following, and everything's is building really good. And
yeah, it was going crazy. I mean, our first tour we played for, the worst show was like 30, well, maybe 14 paid in Beloit, Wisconsin.
I remember there was 3 kids there who just walked in off the street.
Yeah, there's nobody there.
Nobody there.
But I remember like counting, it was like 14 people in the room. So maybe not paid.
Wow.
So we went from that to like a couple tours later, doing all the normal clubs that any punk bands would do, like the Whiskey or the Roxy in down here. And we toured with Face to Face. We toured with Dance Hall Crashers.
Great
it was just like whoever would take us out.
Yeah, I love that.
We would go. And and a lot of it was like touring with other Tooth and Nail bands. We brought out 90 Pound Wuss, Slick Shoes.
Slick Shoes.
Slick Shoes was kind of like new school, kind of fast punk.
They're great, yeah.
Really cool stuff. So going back to where I was talking about, we kind of grew up and didn't realize it. You know, it was weird because that still happens. I still sometimes look around and realize, oh, you're an adult, you have a family, you're
on that, I mean, like,
we're still doing it.
We were on tour like spring of '98 in Europe with Bad Religion, and we were just like children to them. You could just tell we were like these little kids.
Yeah. And
like we felt like it, like these are these like, gods of punk rock, and like we're like these like kids that are just tagging along and opening, right? And then like somewhere along the way, all of a sudden, like there's bands that like were like, oh, I grew up listening to you guys. I'm like, what do you mean? Like, I'm still growing up. Hold on now.
Yeah.
It's crazy how that works, man.
Yeah.
So you guys signed to A&M for that record, Life in General. Is that major?
The next record.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
With Chick Magnet. That's the one. That's that a major?
No.
That's Tooth and Nail still.
No, that was still
That's
Tooth and Nail.
Sick. That's awesome.
Yeah. So that was Tooth and Nail, and it was really kind of like pushing them to the limit on what they could do as a label.
Yeah.
Because all these labels are, the punk rock is taking off. Alternative music in general is taking off.
Was anybody having hit records like that on Tooth and Nail at that point?
No.
I mean, I think us. I think, we were probably the biggest one, honestly,
Dang.
at the time. I think later on it was Under Oath.
Yes.
It was huge.
Yeah.
OC Supertones, a ska band, they did really well too.
Okay.
But that didn't really touch the punk scene.
In '97 though, we were basically putting the label, like just straining them to the point where we were on tour and we'd be like, hey, we need some more CDs, and they'd be like, we're gonna print some more when we get a check next month. Sorry, like we're out.
Wow.
Yeah. And so that was the main reason why we started looking at other labels. 'Cause we were just like, we don't.
It's
want
weird
to
go from like being nobody to like, okay, we need more CDs.
We literally were like, we can't even get our record on the road. This sucks. Like,
oh, that's rough. You're touring the record, you can't find it. That's the
like
worst.
people would come to shows and be like, do you have any we can't find? We're like, we can't get any either. Like, and it was like it was like when Epitaph had Offspring blow up. They were just
crazy,
stretched to the max, doing everything they could to keep up with it, and they were trying, but it was like just a smaller level, you know.
Yeah, he was like doing that out of his garage or something, Brett Gurewitz or something, like millions of records.
Yeah,
that's
insane.
crazy.
So we didn't understand how the music business worked.
Yeah.
We still don't really, but you know. But I mean, at the time, we're just like, okay, fix this, or you know, whatever, and it just can't be fixed that easily. But at the same time, it's a good problem to have.
Yeah.
I mean, anytime people want something they can't have, like water, right?
Yeah, totally.
You're gonna go get it. So,
so that record blows up. That record, that video, everything just changes everything.
Life in general changed everything, really. I mean, that was like Tom was saying, simultaneously we had toured a little bit, and then that was the first record we made since touring.
Okay.
Yep.
And so it just sounded so much different, so much better to us. We could actually play. And we had Steve Kravac produce it, and he had been doing like Blink-182 stuff and just a bunch of, you know, Less Than Jake. Like, so like we met him early on, and he was from Canada. So he had a funny accent and all that. But he really taught us how to play our instruments, which, you know, I give him a lot of credit for how that record sounds, because we could not play that record without him or without somebody to go, okay, let's take it back, take a step back. We're going to play this together. We're going to take out all these parts you can't do. You know, when somebody tries to come in and into the studio and they're trying to play this part that's so hard, and you know, like, they're never going to pull that off live.
Yes.
They could barely play it here.
True.
So that he kind of like fixed that bit for us.
Fine-tune things.
Yeah. And just we practiced our asses off and just really played. And we're still working on it, but yeah.
We'll get it one day.
How was the response to like the core fans when that blew up? Were people tripping back then, or
they loved it? Yeah,
awesome.
I mean, I don't remember. I'm sure now, if I thought about it, there's probably some sort of like older tooth and nail fans that were like not into the fact that we were getting big. You know, when you have this scene and then it gets big and it's beyond you. It's kind of a bummer.
Yeah,
that
people want you for themselves. They want those. You play to 10 people in their basement forever.
Yeah,
because they found you first.
Yeah,
your thing is not your thing anymore. It's everyone's thing.
Yeah,
we definitely got
like sharing.
You're a sellout. It's like so early.
Well, I was going to ask you about the major label, because that was such a big thing back then.
Big
going
time.
to a major, people freak out.
Yeah. I mean, we got made fun of from people about that. Like,
Same.
Oh, you know, the reason why we called our first major label record called "Slowly Going the Way of the Buffalo."
Yeah.
The reason we called it that is because some kid wrote us a letter saying, like, you know, you're just selling out and you're slowly going the way of the buffalo. And we're like, that's a cool line.
I like that. I'm gonna write that down.
You think he knows that? I'm sure he knows it by now.
He does. Yeah.
Wow.
I'm surprised he hasn't come out of the woodwork.
Yeah.
We ran into him somewhere along the line.
It's actually me. It's actually me.
Is that you? They're all lovers now.
So so you got kind of, was there message boards back then? That was probably when it first kind of started.
Yeah,
like
early internet. Yeah.
People would write us letters and send them to my mom's house. So we had stacks of mail, and they would just be coming in. My mom would be there. Hey guys, you know, we're on tour, and there's landlines, so she'd have to call us, and like, you know, or we'd call her, I guess, and say, hey,
just checking in.
How's the mail? How's the mail situation?
And it was a nice mail. It was all kinds of stuff.
It was everything. It was everything. It was great.
Spectrum,
mostly good, but that's how the hate mail came in back in those days. You remember?
That's crazy. Yeah, getting letters in the mail.
Yeah, it's weird to think about. I wanted to ask about Chick Magnet.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Did that song exist before that album? It was on something else before? Or was it on like another?
No, that's the first album it's on.
Oh, it was the first album it was on. For some reason,
I think you're thinking of "I'm Okay, You're Okay," which came out on the next album.
Okay, that makes sense.
A Cooties song, which I wrote.
Yeah.
But the Cooties was a side project we did for a while.
Yeah.
And then, you know, because I knew hardly no one would hear the song, we put it on the next MxPx album. So, but yeah, Chick Magnet, that was a song that actually started out on tour. I started playing that riff, do, and just when Tom would break a string,
which was often
start doing that. We didn't have any text. It was literally just us and one other guy to sell merch. You know, it was and to rent a car. So we just do that for a while. Talk. Yuri would do the thing, and then that would end, and we'd go into the next punk song, and it wasn't even a real song. And so when I got home from tour, boom, finished the song, wrote it, put it on the next record.
And it was a hit.
And yeah, so it's weird sounding. Sorry to interrupt. It's a weird sounding song. It's not very punk because of the way it sort of started.
Right? Yeah. So does that take you into a whole different world with that song? Like, what's that change for you guys in your lives, real lives?
I remember that song getting played on 120 Minutes, and us going like, it's on MTV. Whoa.
Yeah,
I remember that
man.
moment.
Yeah.
You do?
Yeah, that was a big deal because up until that video was also pretty distinct. I feel like it just felt unlike other videos of the time, and it would play on all the kind of the public broadcasting underground kind of television channels here. They were like in the later 50s or 80s or 90s, and there would be like one show at midnight that would be playing like Guttermouth videos with like MxPx. And then it ended up on MTV, and everyone was talking about it. They were like, "Oh my gosh, MxPx is on MTV now." And that felt like a real breakthrough.
And you were a fan for leading up to all that, right?
Yeah. And I was just thinking to your question when you were saying, how did your core fan feel about it? I celebrated it too, which is odd because when a lot of the ska and punk bands of that time would start transcending, like No Doubt, like all the bands we'd supported growing up when they were showing up, like Face to Face or whatever on MTV, I remember the visceral response was always to be like pretty upset about that. You know, we're like, they're taking our thing, which is such a weird thing.
I know.
I've been talking about this all week, by the way, this whole thing about punk rock guilt and like becoming punk. Yeah.
Punk rock guilt.
Yeah. Aaron Rose and I, do you know Aaron Rose?
I know the name. He's told me, yeah.
Yeah. We've been talking a lot about it. He's like, Mike Mills came up with it. Aaron Rose has kind of been running it. And Damon Way, I met with Damon Way last week from DC Shoes, and Damon Way's like, you have punk rock guilt. And it's always kind of confined me into the career that I'm in because my brand, I have a streetwear brand, and anytime it feels like it's getting too mainstream, I'm like, oh, it's getting too popular. I have to pull it back. I'm like, what am I doing? Whereas the next generation hip hop did it the opposite way, which is why hip hop has gotten so big.
Good point.
But when we're at hardcore festivals like Sound and Fury and we're watching this, it's a lot of kids. It's 5,000 kids, but I'm like, it's the same 5,000 kids. Like I brought some of our staff there and they were like, this is kind of a big scene. And I'm like, this is like 4 generations of people all in the same room. Hardcore will never go beyond this because people like Travis came with us and there was like a response to that. Like Travis Barker came to the show and a lot of the hardcore kids were like, we're selling out. And I'm like, wow, this still exists. Everyone has
Meanwhile,
this
he
punk
took
rock
Turnstile on a whole entire world tour.
Exactly.
It's like,
But anyways, that's not where the conversation was going. Sorry.
No, I know.
I derailed. But I just wanted to say I celebrated it.
But I never
celebrated it.
And for me, it's like, whether I liked Offspring or not, they helped my band when I signed to Epitaph, like the year punk broke thing. All those bands helped trickle down to all of us, so all their successes helped us. You know what I mean? Like I never understood that. Like you love a band so much, you don't want them to do that for the rest of their lives. Yeah. And they really live those lyrics, and this is their passion. You want them to do that. You want them to be fucking miserable. You know what I'm saying? Like I never understood that concept.
Yeah, I was one of those kids that like I always wanted the bands I liked to do well because I wanted them to be making records and going on tour. I didn't want them to have to go wash dishes and get a job. Like I wanted more NoFX, and I wanted more. I still want more Operation Ivy.
Do you know what I mean?
You know,
it's a weird thing.
It is weird. I don't know. I don't understand it. I feel that punk rock guilt thing because I mean back. I remember we turned down millions of dollars probably at this point. It probably like stack up to millions, but the first big deal we kind of like said no to was a Japanese company wanted to put, it was like Converse or something like that, but it was like they wanted to put our logo on some shoes in Japan.
Okay.
And I was like, nah. We were like, nah.
Yeah.
That's like sellout kind of shit. You know, like let's not do that.
Wow.
Like it was like we didn't even want to hear about it. We didn't want to be pitched. Nothing. Like nope.
It'd be cool to have some of the sneakers right now.
I was thinking that
on ice
so many times.
Yeah, like exactly.
They were like Chucks and said MXPX along the bottom and had the punk head on it. It was like. Looking back, I'm like, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, but it was so early on. Cool. It was way too early. We didn't understand life at all.
And now it's just totally normal. Like the Hunters, for instance, dropping Judge and H2, all the different bands, all the collabs you've been doing, like pink GB shirts and baby blue Judge shirts, which never been made in hardcore ever. It's just the colorways you're doing and bringing those bands to light to a bunch of people that may have never heard of the bands before.
Yeah,
I love that you do that.
Yeah,
and that's not your punk rock guild. That's your love for hardcore.
Yeah. Right.
It shaped you as a child.
But but I feel like we're all infected with this disease of punk rock guilt, which has kept us, held us back in so many ways in our careers and in our lives. But at the same time, I think it's lengthened our runways and helped us sustain for this long. Because all of us have sustained for this long, because I think punk rock guilt exists because what you're doing is you're telling yourself, if I sell out to a corporation, I'm shortening my runway. And so I can preserve my legacy longer if I say no to things. That's just like we're conditioned to believe that. I don't know if it's true. This is why I've been having the conversation a lot.
Well, I think also growing up in this world too is I have to do it all myself. It's all DIY, like 100%. No matter what.
DIY, yeah. That's
like saying no is like so punk. No, I'm not doing that. I ain't doing that.
I'm doing it myself.
Punk. Yeah. Fuck that.
Yeah.
But the more you say yes to things, I've realized that as I get older, like so many things open up. Do you know what I mean? Like saying yes is kind of feels nice to be able to do that. But back then you weren't really sure. You're kind of like insecure about what you can or can't do maybe, or the punk rules or ethics or how to live by. But I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's crazy.
It's been a huge learning experience just being in a band, making mistakes, saying no to the wrong things, saying yes to the to the wrong things, all that, But like I said, we're here. We put out a record in 2018, self-titled, and that, a song from
that was a crowdfunding that
became our first, our biggest streaming song, which is crazy, that it's not Chick Magnet or Punk Rock Show.
Yeah. The goal was $50K. You made $200K or something, right? Is that the crowdfunding one?
Yeah, that's the one.
That's insane.
Yeah, insane. So we were completely broke right before that happened. We're like, no more money. We put everything we had into recording it, and so we did that Kickstarter and made it all back.
Wow.
And people were so supportive, obviously.
It was awesome, yeah.
It was cool, too, because we hadn't put a record out since, 2009, I think. It had been a while.
2013 or 14.
13? Okay.
Actually, I don't know.
Was it Plans Within Plans?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's 2012.
There you go,
12. Okay.
I got my deep dive and shit, right?
There you go.
Wow, you guys had 6 years between records?
There was a big gap there where we didn't know, we didn't even know if we'd make another record. Mike and I, we were talking one time. We were driving from San Diego to Ventura. We were playing a weekend of shows, and we're driving in the car, and we're talking. He's like, hey, I got a bunch of songs I'm writing. And I'm like, oh, yeah, what's up with him? He's like, I think, I got a few, actually, on deck. We should get together. And, normally we would just practice for shows and go through the songs and go do it. But, this came down to where it was okay, no, we're really going to do this. Should we do another record? Do you think people will care or like it? Or it was obviously
Clearly.
So Let's Ride. Let's Ride was on the Tony Hawk, the new Tony Hawk video game, Pro Skater. And that gave it even a second life. So it came out. It was, the biggest song. And then Let's Ride on that was, just to be able to play it and have my kid hear our song.
So cool,
while Tony Hawk is skating or,
How old's your kid?
So cool. I have he's 7 now and then a 10-year-old girl.
Awesome. What about you? You have kids?
No kids over here now.
Got you. So after that big hit and the next record, Before Everything and After, that was there pressure to make a hit song after having your first hit, or you just made a record and who cares?
Oh, well, I'm talking about Let's Ride was actually in 2018.
No, I'm going back now.
Oh, you're going back.
Yeah, I'm going back a little bit because that song charted 51 on Billboard or something. The record after that, after the big song, was there pressure to make a big record?
I never felt like there was pressure to make a record.
Always.
If anything, no. I always
now you have a fucking certified hit.
Yeah, I always just felt like there was always pressure to make a good record.
I like that.
And make it sound good, play well, do interesting things that maybe we hadn't done before. But never we need the radio single hit. That was someone else's job to worry about.
Yeah, it's just weird. Anytime I've ever written a song that becomes a hit, it's not the song I think will be, the hit or whatever. So it's I don't try anymore. I think every song I write is a hit. That's the truth.
I like that. Yeah,
when I write, there's 1 out of 8 songs I'll be like, okay, that's definitely not happening. But most of them, when I finish writing it, I'm like, this is a good song.
Yeah.
In my head. I'm not saying it is. I'm saying it has to be to finish it because there's so many ideas out there and I have to pick one to actually work on, right? So it's
weird. Are you constantly writing, journaling or stuff like that?
Constantly is not the word, but it comes in cycles. It depends on what I'm doing because if I'm traveling a lot, I don't write as much. If I'm doing this promo stuff or anything talking about the band, I'm not really writing.
Yeah.
And especially when we're doing live shows, I'm not usually writing because I'm trying to think about the lyrics of the songs that we're doing live.
Same, I do that.
Right?
You forget the lyrics sometimes?
Oh yeah.
Me too.
Yes.
He sure
of course.
does.
This guy.
But we never can get one of what are those things that go on stage?
Teleprompter.
We don't need that though.
No, I don't need that.
Ozzy uses that. That's different.
Ozzy uses that. Fat
Respect.
Mike uses that.
No effects.
Offspring uses that.
Do
Too.
they? Okay, yeah.
We blow up some spots right now.
We love all y'all.
But yeah, I never do that. I do forget lyrics. The best about hardcore and punk is that when you forget something, you put the
Yeah, you put it out.
Yeah.
and hopefully they catch up. Or sometimes you put it out and they mess up and then they throw you off.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's happened
Right.
many times.
Yeah.
But yeah, spacing out lyrics, it happens, dude. And I'm
It's-
not going to say it's because of old age. I did that
No.
in the beginning of the band too.
It's just a volume of just how much stuff you got to remember.
I know it's a lot
Yeah.
of songs.
It's
man.
little hiccups too, like in your brain or whatever. Like for me, there's certain things I always mess up, or not, that I would mess up more easily, right? Like
Yeah.
a certain little part of a song. And so, like, to me, it almost makes it worse when I'm like, this part's coming up, don't screw it up. I screwed it up. Like,
Yeah.
Because you're thinking about it
because
too
you're
much.
thinking too much. Yeah, when you just let it flow off the dome, that works. That's how I do my best work. Focusing on what I'm doing, but also not thinking too much about what's coming.
Have you guys been doing this band ever since those records as a full-time musicians, or you guys been working your families now? Not at this point, but back then, like after those records, you did Panic, Secret Weapon. There's so many freaking albums to go over.
Yeah.
Since then, is it full-time? Is that how you make a living? Was music only?
Me, yeah. Me,
Okay.
yeah.
I got a job in like 2010, but I mean like up until
Was
then.
that your first job in a long time? Real job?
Since high school, like as a groundskeeper in high school.
Because you went straight to music to that, like.
Yeah, I mean, 2007 was rough, like, as the music business just started
Yeah.
kind of tanking as far as record sales, all that. Promoters weren't promoting the same way. People weren't. It was weird, right?
Yeah.
And so, like, that was rough. It was a rough time for MxPx. We were still going, but we didn't know what was going to happen, because we're like, okay, people, is this done? Are we done? People don't like us anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Just getting royalty checks for like a couple cents in the mail. Like, okay, music is worth nothing. My music is worth nothing now.
Yeah. Did you feel like you got caught up in the cycle of like making a new record every year or two to keep it going for more tours, new music, new merch, like how bands get in that cycle?
A little bit, yeah.
We have to like put the record out to continue to stay relevant.
Yeah.
To put the record out and like
There was definitely
it's a lot, man.
There was a space of time where we did Warped 98, 2000, 2002, and then 2005. So we were like just like almost like every other year kind of thing.
Yeah.
Warped Tour was sick though.
Yeah, it was great.
Game changer.
Yeah.
Absolutely. That really pushed us to another level. When we started in 97, we met the Descendants,
Yes.
our idols. We hung out with them every day on
Yeah.
the tour. They were probably like, okay, these, they don't talk. They talk a little too much, but
Were you fanning out on them a little bit?
we
or no?
fanboyed out
Yeah.
like so hard. Like, I ended up, going over to Stefan's house a bunch of times
Oh,
just
that's
because I
cool.
fanboyed so hard. He's like, okay, now we're friends. But
That's cool.
but
Oh, with Blink-182 is Descendants 97, right? Blink and Descendants.
yes,
Yeah,
That's a sick one.
Yeah, that was great. And we had already known Blink, at the time. We knew them a bit, but we were up and coming quite a bit. We were playing that side truck stage.
Oh, yeah.
Where your feet would melt when it was really hot out.
That was brutal.
That was insane. Yeah, but it kind of taught us to be tough. It taught
Yeah.
us like, okay, no sleep till Brooklyn. Just do the work. Don't complain. Pay attention. I mean, that was Warped Tour for us.
It's hard, man.
Because up until there, we were just doing little club tours, with, like I said, Face to Face,
Yeah.
Bad Religion.
Well, the club tours too, you could show up at like 5 in the afternoon and it's fine. But Warp, you got to be there at like 10 a.m.
It's brutal.
Yeah.
Was that your first bus tour, the Warped Tour?
No, we didn't take a bus. We
no,
were in our
first one,
van.
we were in a van. Yeah.
We were
Brutal.
literally driving all night after the show.
That's brutal. For the listeners, this tour is made for buses only. They're the sickest
Yeah.
drives.
Yeah, so we did
Damn.
that. So it wasn't until the next year that we got a bus. But our first bus was still 97, but in the, I guess, fall. We did a run with No Doubt, open for No Doubt.
That's incredible.
Which was rad. But we're like, I guess we need a bus.
Yeah.
We're playing stadiums, or it wasn't stadiums.
It's a
Just
game
all
changer.
the big sheds and all that. Yeah.
Sheds, but
it was shocking to be like, I get to just go to sleep tonight. Oh my god!
And then wake up at the venue in the morning, walk around the
yeah.
town. Like,
yeah.
It's
First-
such a game changer.
First day we had a bus. Our bus driver got stuck in between a small road, so like the bus is sideways, like T,
He
Okay.
high-centered
like a
it,
T.
yeah.
High centered it. The bus wouldn't move anywhere. Our tour manager Gloria is like, "All right, we're gonna fire this guy. We're getting a new bus tomorrow."
Were you guys main support in that tour?
We were opening. So we opened, and then the Selector was main support.
Okay.
And then it was No Doubt. So we were just paying our dues, just like we
It's like
had
hour after doors,
a
barely
Yeah.
maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's huge stage, right?
Yeah.
Or after doors at like every shed, in the country kind of thing. It was just it was brutal sometimes.
There was like 3 feet in front of the drums to the front of the stage.
Of course.
So it was like no room.
It
And
sounds glamorous.
yeah,
Yeah.
You're opening for No Doubt, but you're playing first. Yeah, it's sun's still out maybe.
Oh,
yeah,
yeah. Oh, yeah.
yeah. But it was cool. It was cool to be part of.
Great
And
opportunity.
We always were grateful for that. We were like a little bit weirded out about the tiny stage thing because it's such a huge stage, but every little square inch is full of gear behind it. We didn't trip over anything. Didn't die.
We didn't break their stage props, so that's good for us.
Dang.
But again, it's kind of like doing that tour. We didn't make lifelong friends with No Doubt. I mean, they were cool with us.
Yeah.
We definitely became friends or whatever. I talked to Gwen. Hi, Gwen. You know, like, I don't want to.
Were they checking you guys out?
bother you.
Were they watching? Did we catch them watching you probably?
Tony, for sure.
Okay, Tony's
yeah.
Tony's my dude.
Tony's
man.
rad. Yeah.
That's
Tony's
cool.
awesome. Yeah, you know, Adrian was cool. They were all cool. All the band people.
And they did a Cypress tour too with Offspring.
Yeah.
We did, yeah.
That's a sick one too.
That was rad. We had so much time on our hands. That was like, you get on tour, you're used to like always traveling, always being busy doing stuff, and then you're sitting there on this arena tour. You show up, you're doing nothing all day. Like you don't sound check until right before doors.
Yep.
And then you play your show. It's a half hour.
And you get to watch the bands all night. Don't kind of hang, right? Yeah.
So we definitely, you know, it was just a party tour. There's so many tours we did where we had so much free time, so much downtime. Where, looking back, I'm just, man, I wish I would have known to like do some work. We could have built a whole empire on the side, you know, with the amount of time we wasted just partying.
Like doing other things, you mean?
Yeah, just drinking, you know, just drinking, just having, okay, we got our beer for the show. Drink that, get some Jack Daniels, whatever.
You guys a party band at that point?
I mean, kind of. I mean, it's not like we were known as a party band.
Yeah, like we weren't like, you know, alcoholics, but a few drinks every night, sure, yeah.
A few drinks every night.
Yeah.
I mean, we had our times for sure. But, you know, now I still technically drink, but I don't drink a lot. So I never felt the need to like, okay, I got to go to AA and fix this. It was always just, I think I'm going to stop drinking so much because I'm an idiot. Yeah. You know, so like I was always able to kind of just turn it around.
Yeah.
All of us, I think, are kind of like that. Yuri, same thing. He smoked pot with Newfound Glory one night.
At the Newfound Glory Good Charlotte Honda Civic tour.
Yes.
Yeah, that was a sick tour too, though.
Yeah, we toured them a bunch over the years. But yeah, that tour was so much fun. And that actually was a really fun tour because it was like our age group, right? Like
it was all our friends.
Knew all
too.
those guys. Yeah, it was so much fun.
Those are big. They did more than one of those Honda Civic tours. I thought it was like maybe it became a thing.
It became a thing.
The
But we
Civic
did
tour
like
was
the
a
first.
yearly thing,
We did the first one.
Was that what Good Charlotte was huge at that point?
Yeah, Good Charlotte was kind of at their
Crazy,
top.
man.
Yeah.
Damn.
It was wild.
That was a crazy time. Yeah.
We had a good time on that. I don't remember that one being as much free time. Probably just because we were, like I said, kind of with friends of ours already. But the Offspring came by our first show with them. Their tour manager came by and was like, is now a good time for the boys to stop by and say hi? It was like formal.
They just set up a formal hello.
It was like an arranged, like, you know, Dexter News would like to come say hello to the band. What time will you be in your dressing room? Like, it was like,
wow.
Okay.
Right now?
We kind of hang out here all
Did they
day.
check you on the tour?
But they were great. Yeah, all those guys were nice to us. Like when they came over, even though it was like a weird thing at first, like formal,
like a meet and greet almost.
they were normal. Like Noodles was cool as hell.
Yeah, Noodles is awesome, man. It's crazy. He was a janitor at Dexter's High School.
He was?
Yeah, that's where he met. That's what I met.
That's right.
Yeah. He was a
That's
janitor
weird.
in his school. Yeah,
So
and they befriended each other.
That's awesome.
And he's in the band. And,
So
and you guys wrote like the title. Did you write the title track for a Scooby-Doo movie or Scooby-Doo soundtrack?
we did a cover.
Okay.
Yeah, I think we changed it up a little bit, but it was really just
That was a pretty big movie though.
Yeah, the first Scooby-Doo one with like the live action one with like the animated
Yeah,
Scooby.
remember that?
Yeah.
My son just mentioned that.
He did.
He was just like, yeah, but you were on Scooby-Doo, or I don't know what the context was. And I was like, yes, you're right, son. And like he was definitely not old enough to see that.
That's cool.
I don't think he existed when that came out.
No,
but
and now with Tony Hawk game too.
Yeah, the Tony Hawk.
Yeah,
game.
every once in a while, like friends of mine with kids would be like, so something weird happened last night. We were watching Scooby-Doo. I'm like, I already remember this story. Yeah.
And
is
then
that really you?
Then you guys started doing this quarantine thing, which is cool.
Oh, yeah.
They turned it into a record.
Yeah, Life in Quarantine.
Life in Quarantine, yeah.
And then we did Between This World and the Next, which is, you know, just us doing the live streams.
Yeah.
So we, you know, over the pandemic, everything shut down. And so we were like, okay, what can we do? And started out doing acoustic stuff and then built basically a TV studio, a streaming studio.
Where is
Got a
that
bunch
at?
of
Where is it
lighting.
at your house?
It's in Bremerton at our studio.
Wow,
So we have a studio that's a house, but it's just made into a studio.
It's awesome.
So we record there, all our records, where we do promo video, you know, anything like that. Do the podcast there. and kind of just started researching, started going online, asking people questions, and now we can literally do a live stream to, we can do multi-streams to Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all of that, all at the same time, YouTube. And really it was just, it was amazing. It made us grow. Like over those years where it was just down, our whole business grew.
Wow.
And we definitely want to continue doing it. We've started doing shows a little bit, but we started making, a new record a little after that. But the live stream thing has been kind of life-changing in a way.
Okay.
It's hard to say now because it's so early, but I really feel like the fact that we could just do that on our own is wild. Like, we're so used to gatekeepers, so used to like having to go through this company, we still do have to do that for a lot of stuff, but the fact that they allow us to do it and like allow us to, like, if we wanted to sell tickets, we could sell tickets to the live streams, which we've done a bit, but a lot of times we like to just do it completely free.
It's awesome.
And just roll it out. So
and then write new songs and playing new songs for the first time in those streams as well. And then releasing them in singles and stuff. You put a lot of singles out too.
Yeah, that was awesome. Like one of the coolest thing, "Can't Keep Waiting" is one of the songs where we're literally practicing it on the live stream. All right, we're gonna try this song out. Did it a few times, finally put it out, and a lot of for people that were part of that.
Yeah,
it's not necessarily like everybody that knows MxPx, but people that were part of that, that's one of their favorite songs. At least a modern MxPx song, because they have that connection to it.
Yeah.
And they went through something on their own, whether, with their family during COVID, whatever. And I think that's helped us out along the way. It's just like being in the right place at the right time, being there to provide something for people, a connection, a distraction.
Are the live streams still big now with COVID being over?
We haven't really done too many.
Okay.
We did one last year for Christmas. We do like a Christmas one or whatever. But now they're going to be more just special occasions. Not so much every month like we were doing it. I think anything just kind of does die down after a while. Like you can keep up that momentum, but as soon as it starts dying down, okay, time to think about what's next. So for us, we're redoing the way the whole live stream room looks. So it's going to look different. We have a new album coming out August 25th.
Awesome.
And really
What's the album called?
That. It's called Find a Way Home.
Awesome.
And we have a new song out called Stay Up All Night.
Okay.
It's out right now. And we're just excited. That, and then, of course, the Palladium show. We have a Palladium show coming up in L.A. It's January 6th. MxPx, Less Than Jake, Reliant K, and Smoking Popes.
Smoking Popes, wow.
Yeah, it's all our favorite bands.
That's cool.
All playing with us, so we're pretty stoked.
And then you got We Were Young Fest coming up. And Furnace Fest, too.
Yeah, Furnace Fest is going to be sick.
Furnace is going to be so fun.
Sick.
So, Furnace Fest in September. We're playing Friday night. We're closing out the first night. And Hatebreed is supporting right before us.
Wow. That's going to be crazy.
So Hatebreed together?
Yeah.
Dude, that's such a crazy combo.
I think it goes Reliant K, Hatebreed us. It's
No
gonna be a
way.
crazy.
I think it's Reliant
crazy.
K and Berlin Hatebreed.
There we go. Yeah, sorry, Amber Lynn's in there too. That's right. God, man, it's
So
gonna be a
crazy.
night.
Sick.
I love it. It's not it's like a resurgence, but it seems that there's so much love for like pop punk, hardcore, everything at this moment with young kids too.
Yeah.
The kids just getting into it and appreciating it. Like Furnace Fest is a very kind of young fest. It's a good mix. You know what I mean? So you guys are headlining that. It's awesome.
Yeah, the fact that hardcore is getting so big, and that festival is a really hardcore
Yes,
fest.
it
Everybody's
is.
heavy on that, except for an MxPx and a Reliant K or something like that. But Pennywise is on Sunday, so
It's cool though, but kids love it. It's cool.
and Turnstile's headlining Saturday night.
Oh, wow.
So it's like we really have to milk our like early pop punk songs and like get into the psyche of the crowd. It's gonna be fun. But Hatebreed, I hadn't really paid much attention to Hatebreed over the years because, like I said, I was a Gorilla Biscuits guy. I was like into the fast melodic hardcore stuff.
It's hard, right?
But I started listening to it. I really like it.
It's hard.
really
man.
good.
It is hard.
Shout out to Jamie
but
Josta, man.
Yeah.
dude. I love it, man.
Jamie Josta gave me this focus, right? He told me to start a podcast. It's all because of my podcast.
Wow, really?
And this is his original one. Yeah, he gave it to me for this podcast. And I use it. That's all I use.
So
Josta. Yeah. So that's
Dude.
crazy. Yeah. So who would have
I'm a
thought
fan. I'm a fan now.
MxPx and Hatebreed together? It's sick.
Yeah.
But I like that. That's some European like festival type shit.
That's actually Warp 98 when we were playing the side stage. They were on it too. And it'd be us, them. Kid Rock was there. It was a really.
I remember that one.
It was a really weird side stage, but it was like the one thing I really remember about Hatebreed back then was there was a pit for one of them, and there was a guy swinging a hand truck in the pit, just winging his hand truck around. I was like, that's scary, crazy.
Yeah.
Like, where's the ambulance?
I love how positive their lyrics are. You know, like if I'm having a bad day, dude, I'm putting on Hatebreed.
Wow. So you're like a new fan.
I'm a new fan.
That's so cool.
Because like I'm telling you, like I had only kind of just heard the name and like I said, you know, we're seeing them at shows, but never paid attention.
That's cool. You checked them out because you're playing with them.
Yeah. So I was like, I'm definitely checking it out. And this is amazing.
Destroy everything. Destroy. The crowd's going to be crazy
That'd be
too.
awesome if you get up and start singing for one of their songs.
Dude, if you're like diving in the crowd or something.
Yeah.
Is that Mike from
okay, so we're gonna talk about internet rumor about H2O MxPx.
Okay.
Go.
All right.
It came up recently. MxPx had said that H2O, their merch person, which is my wife, bullied them and stole their tent. I want to talk about this now.
It wasn't merch. I remember this. This was Warp.
Because it wasn't merch.
So is this anything? Let's talk about. Is this anything true to this?
I don't know what you want to hear about this. I don't know. If you want to know.
I remember it,
but it wasn't merch. So your wife's
wasn't
good.
merch. She's in the clear.
Okay.
Ooh,
so
wait,
is this,
what happened?
I don't really
is
know.
Spicy.
I don't really know what
because
really
I
happened.
barely even know these guys. You know what I mean? Throughout the years.
So it wasn't you. It wasn't your band, and it wasn't our band. So it was backstage at
yes, let's get into it.
This is great.
It was the backstage at Warped Tour. Everyone had those tents they'd set
what
up.
city were we in?
I have no idea.
If it's New York, then I know that I have crazy friends. But okay, let's go.
But no, so
it might have
been
been East Coast.
Okay. It was the backstage, like the pop-up tents that everyone put up to, you know, put all their guitars together and all that stuff.
Guitar World.
And our techs, we had one, and they came back there and they're like, we can't find our tent. We're like, that's weird. And it had MxPx spray painted on it, like a blue one with like gray spray paint or something like that.
Yeah, everybody had their names on their tents for the listeners of Warped Tour. So it's still your tent. Have your name on it.
And so the next day they went looking around. They're like, we found one that's blue, and there's a big blotch in like a darker color right in the spot. Like, we think like the H2O crew took our tent. We're like, really?
Was it the techs for H2O?
Yeah,
because the techs have tents too. They have tents too.
Yeah, it was the techs. Yeah, it was the backstage.
This is
it was
amazing.
The techs. Yeah.
Okay.
But our guys were like, I think they took our thing. Did you talk to them? Like, no, not yet. We're like, well, what and I think they went and like said, hey, I think you took our tent. Like, oh no, we just found this one. We don't know what's up. And like, I don't remember where it ended. Like, if we ended up
like
with
who
it back.
carries spray paint to like?
Yeah.
I think it was just they found a tent and they grabbed it.
Yeah.
They probably weren't thinking.
Our crew was on that tour because we were like.
It was all your goons, wasn't it?
No, I did.
It was definitely Moon.
No, I had normal
I just like the visual of Moon going over and being like, "This is my tent," like fully like Debo, like this is.
It got us so heated a month ago that I was like, "Yo," and they said that yeah.
I wonder where that came up because like.
Yeah, I wonder who knew that. Honestly, like
we never talked about it.
We never like.
No, it was.
Now we talked about it though.
Yeah, she's good.
I know, but I wanted to bring it up because it's like. I know there's like the New York hardcore thing, and it's like, no, dude, that's not us.
And over the years, we knew you would never do that on purpose. Kind of getting to know your band from afar a little bit.
Isn't that crazy, bro?
You have a good reputation.
Thank you. And it's like, who is this person? Even know that or hear anything like that?
That's what's weird. Is like, how would that be brought up recently?
They had to have been a tech on the tour or something.
Read my mind. Like,
and I don't even know this tech. Dude, our tech we had then went on to be with Selena Gomez. He blew up. He's with. I'm not gonna say what he's with now, but he was a professional guy. Yeah. Like that was like his tour. Like, so crazy.
Yeah, it was. Our guys were like,
well, whatever they did not represent H2O as human beings.
No,
I want you to know that face to face.
Yeah, absolutely. I appreciate it.
And then I went to your page and I followed you back and I hit you up for the pod, and now we're here talking. This is fucking beautiful.
That's awesome.
So maybe this one negative fuck inspired all this shit. You know what I'm saying? Like it was just like,
you never know.
That's like your reputation. Do you know what I'm saying? Like.
Yeah, they had to be like a tech on the tour or something because I was just like such like a. I remember it because I was like, really? Oh, weird. All right, well, it's just a tent.
Yeah, but still, but there's always that like that I don't know, that just I don't know, the stigma or reputation of New York bands. I don't know. You know what I mean?
I think probably that could have been why we didn't want to like ask you about it. You know what I mean? Like, because it would have been solved just like that. You know?
Yeah.
If we would have just been like, hey, I don't want to be weird, but is this our tent? Like, we're looking for a tent.
It's crazy that somebody would take it and like pull up
Yeah.
spray paint.
But that's
Who
what would
knows?
happen
Yeah.
if whenever someone steals somebody's bike and
No,
you're like,
I
yeah,
get
is
it.
that my
You
bike?
gotta
And you're like,
paint it.
no, I bought it off of somebody on Craigslist.
But
Or like,
like,
you stole it.
Did our dudes go to the store and
scratch
buy
off the
spray paint?
cereal.
Somebody randomly has
No
spray
clue.
paint.
Yeah, or like who has spray paint at the Warped Tour? I don't even know.
It could have been honestly one of the Warped Tour crew guys grabbed a tent and was like, just take this one. You know?
Yeah.
Like, hey, we
No
need a
clue.
tent. I'll
We need
give
to
you
find out. Then
We should start like a 12-episode podcast.
one. Yeah,
Yeah.
this is now a
Like
series.
this is now a
Netflix-
true crime
a Netflix
podcast.
true crime
I'm
podcast.
really curious. I'm just curious about it. Just
Yeah.
like
so
that shit
wild.
bothers me. Like reputation shit like that. It's like not true. That's the online shit. Do you guys are you guys on social media?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
of course.
Are you on the answering DMs and stuff?
I like answer a few of them and like, you know, just like give like a like to a lot of them, and like I feel like it's like the least I can do. They're reaching out, and it gives them something like, oh my god, he did this thing, that's cool, you know, like just being connected in some little bit of
course.
way.
Yeah.
It's really good for that.
I try to do that a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah, but negative comments, you ever get those and stuff like that, or weird shit, or?
Usually ignore.
Yeah,
Yeah.
usually just
Yeah.
kind of like whatever.
And did the message boards back then bother you guys, or were people saying sellouts for the major label, whatever? Any of that shit get to you, or bother you?
Probably a little bit.
Yeah,
But
it's hard not to because we're sensitive.
Yeah.
We're sensitive souls doing music.
If I hear about it, it's probably gonna bother me for a second, but then it's usually I'm really good at compartmentalizing. You know,
Okay.
if I'm in a bad mood, I can shake it pretty easily. But message boards, honestly, we weren't on that
Yeah,
much. I mean, that was you know, the fans were on there.
totally. Yeah.
We were just like doing our thing.
we were
but-
just on tour too much, and like, you know, I didn't have a laptop or no one had a smartphone. It was like you'd get on those things when you were at home maybe, but like it was the late 90s, and like it was something that was just, we knew it existed, but we weren't really involved with it.
Was there like any moment where you realized that this was going to be a full-time thing? Was it Chick Magnet, or was it a time, one of your records or something, like, holy shit, like this is our life?
Not soon enough.
Okay.
It's not soon enough. It took us a while. Like, wait, are we still doing this? Like,
Yeah.
okay. Honestly, I mean, when I saw other bands that were kind of coming up at the same time as us fall off a little bit around mid 2000s, 2004, 2005, I was like, oh, we're still doing pretty good, even though a couple years later we started not doing so good. But it just took us longer, right? You know, so I had some of those thoughts, like, okay, we could, if we just keep doing this, just keep doing this as long as possible. Like, I still kind of feel like that. Like, okay, if we can do this and we can be successful, we can do this tour, and then I can live in my house another year. You know, if we put out a good record, I don't have to sell my house. You know, that kind of thing. Like, I think about that now.
Okay.
But
you own your house, it's paid off, you're good?
not paid off.
Okay. You've been in there for a while, though?
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah. 15 years or so.
Have you owned a house before, back in the day?
Bought a house in 2001.
Okay.
Don't have that house anymore.
Yeah.
But this is the second one since then. A lot of people are going, what about your Texas house? But we have a house in Texas as well.
Okay.
But so it's like,
Why Texas?
my wife is from Texas.
Okay, cool.
So she always wanted to go there,
Yeah, that's
spend more
nice.
time with family.
Yeah.
So we do that kind of back and forth during the year, depending on how busy things are.
Are you a Texas fan?
I don't mind Texas.
Yeah.
You know, not a big fan of their sports team. I like the Spurs
Okay.
as far as basketball goes.
Yeah.
I like Dallas Mavericks, but I'm not a big fan of their football teams at all.
Okay.
Sorry, guys. Yeah.
What about you, Tom? You have a crib? Are you going to say something?
No, go ahead. I do want to come back to something.
You want to come back?
You want to come back to the
Go now.
Cowboys?
Go.
No,
No.
It's and we kind of left off on it earlier too, talking about that 2007, 2008 era.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
Good point.
we came back to it again, and you were like, that was the moment where it really was like you were in survival mode. You were like
Yeah.
thriving, and then now you're full on hardcore survival. So how did you get from that period and all the way to here? I mean, it's 2023 and you guys are still alive,
Good
still
point.
making money off of music. And it's something I'm actually selfishly asking because I've been doing a fashion brand for 20 years and we go through these droughts.
Right.
And right now, to be completely honest, in fashion streetwear, we're all like we're on the wrong side of momentum. But just the market.
Right.
Everyone's kind of feeling this right now, by the way. So I know it's just not,
not
our
just you guys.
industry.
We know. We know.
Right.
And so it's how do you get to that next part? Because there's so many times now where I'm like, I don't know how much longer I can do this. I feel like
Like not quitting,
I've been
you mean?
struggling for so long, like 10 years I've been struggling.
Yeah.
So I don't know. How do you guys?
It's also just believing in yourself too,
sustain
right?
like
Not
that?
giving up, right?
Yeah, I think definitely not giving up is the main thing. Like when we look back at our career and all the pitfalls, the ups and downs, it's always been keep going. Pick up the pieces when you fail. Enjoy the good times when you're doing great, but keep going and don't just sit around.
Don't stop.
At the same time, obviously, bands need to go away a little bit. You know,
To be missed,
from the public eye, to be
appreciated, yeah,
missed,
totally, yeah.
appreciated. So I think there's something to that. I'm not going to sit here and say I know what the future is and like I pay attention to the technology thing. Like I try to pay attention, but at some point you just can't keep up with everything.
Yeah.
So I really feel like having a strong, thoughtful idea of what you want to do is a good place to start, but then just never giving up, always being able to pivot or course correct when things aren't working. That's not necessarily giving up. It's just fixing something along the way or whatever.
Part of that's the live stream thing we did too, because it was
That
helps.
huge.
Yeah.
you couldn't go out and play it, but we wanted to. And when Mike first brought it up, I was kind of against doing it. I was like, it's gonna be weird, just be us in a room. And the first time we did it, it was really fun. When I got done, I'm like, I really enjoyed that. Like, can we do more? Like, that was really fun. Like,
yeah.
So that was a huge course correct, a huge thing that brought us from the brink of, death. But
Did you almost break up then, 2007 area?
no,
Nah.
I thought about it a few times, but we just didn't do as much.
Tom didn't know that. That's what
We
you
just-
said.
yeah.
I was doing solo tours.
Okay.
I did a few tours as MxPx All Stars.
Okay, yeah, I remember that too.
And that was honestly, it kept us floating. It kept us going. It kept us moving.
Relevant
And
in the mix, yeah.
it wasn't necessarily like something I wanted to do like that, but it kept us in the mix and got us over the hump to where these guys were back in the fold. Yuri was going through a bunch of crazy stuff in his life and kind of came out of like divorce and all that.
Yeah.
Came back to the band. It's been ever since we all kind of like came back together. It's been, I wouldn't say nonstop, but it's been everything we've done it's felt real.
Yeah.
It's
Not
felt
forced.
like it's felt not forced. Like
Yeah.
we're doing this because we
Organic.
want to do this.
Organic.
Not because,
Organic and with momentum. Like,
Yeah.
it seems to all be kind of like moving forward and doing well. And like, we put the thought into it to like make sure it's kind of like just keeping on going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So-
And your life, was it like a whole, did you have like a fear of failing back then too? Like the band can't go away. I have to keep doing this. I got to fucking,
Always.
this is my life. This is what I know. This is what I
Yeah.
do. Not that you didn't want to get a regular job, because you have a family and you do whatever you can for your fam. But you also, this is what I've been doing. I'm a musician. This is it.
Yeah.
We have a fucking name. This is,
I always think about
'Cause
fans.
it's hard.
I think about people listening to the records and coming to our live shows, and like I think about them when even anytime I want to like wimp out on something and quit,
yeah.
do something easier, I'm going like, okay, this is hard, but it's not actually harder than most of the jobs out there.
True.
So like get it together. Let's make this happen.
And then
It's
you have
a
a
good
family.
point.
And it's like, I got to do it for them. I have to go harder for them.
Yeah,
Like continue this life that I'm living. You know what I mean?
absolutely.
So that's like a whole other inspiration, I think.
How have you guys
One
managed
life,
to?
one chance.
Yes, sir.
Ooh, I feel like we
Thank
should just
you.
end it there. How have you guys managed to stay together and by each other's side? I mean, were there moments where there was friction or where
Of
you
course,
felt
yeah.
like you just couldn't be together anymore?
I mean, our first tour, we were 18 years old. We all get to go home all the time before that, right? And all of a sudden, we're stuck in a van for 2 months. Yeah,
It's a lot, man.
Had
There was definitely-
huge fights.
there was a drive from
Huge.
our booking at this time was just bonkers too. Our second to last show of the tour was in Virginia Beach, Virginia, and our last show was in Long Beach, California.
Bro.
Yeah,
What?
yeah.
That's
So,
crazy.
We had a drive,
Whoa.
2-day drive, and we had to make it because it was like we had to go to be there. We had to get on time, right? We had this drive, and we were all arguing in the van. And Mike just goes, "Look," and this is like maybe in like I don't know, Virginia. Like we're way still out there, right? He's like, "Look, if everyone just shuts up, we'll make it to California and play this show." Because like we were just on each other. Because we just like you're like it's almost like cabin fever, but you're all locked together.
Oh, yeah,
you know,
of course,
You're
man.
uncomfortable.
for the first
yeah.
time. But then after a while, like, it's like brothers. You just get through all that stuff. And like there was one point, I can't remember what year it was, but Mike comes on the bus, and I forgot my jacket backstage, and he just throws it in my face because you forgot your jacket, and throws it, and I just jumped up and like tackled him.
Oh yes.
In the front lounge, right? And like there's a bunch of our friends and crew guys who maybe haven't been around so long. I tackle them, we start wrestling around. Then we like after like about a minute of this, like we just sit down on the couch and we're just sitting there, and then like I see everyone's all tense. I go, Mike, they think we're actually mad at each other right now.
That's some like brother shit, though.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly. It's
some-
just brotherhood. It's
Yeah.
just like, and it's like everyone else is freaked out thinking there's a real fight, but it was like you threw my jacket in my face. I thought it was a dick move. We wrestled around. We're good.
I didn't even ask you guys. You have siblings?
Not me.
I have 2 sisters.
Okay.
So younger sister, older sister, and I was the middle child. Pretty much took over my family's life with this band. Like, sorry, family. Like, because once this band was going, like, it was all that. You know, it was like when a kid has like a soccer tournament every weekend.
Yes.
That's what it was like.
Yeah.
We want to talk
All
about
about me.
You want to talk about a mom and pop? Like his mom and dad still help run the merch.
Oh, man,
yeah,
that's
yeah.
awesome,
Yeah.
man.
We do all our merch in house, all
Wow.
ourselves.
Love
MxPx.com.
Do your sisters work for the band too?
No, they do not.
Okay.
No.
Do they like
do their
your
own
music?
thing. I don't know. Maybe they used to.
They've seen you play before, obviously. Your
They
parents
have.
have.
Yeah.
I'm sure your parents are super proud, man. Still doing this, and it's awesome.
Yeah, my parents are great. I mean, I'm proud of them, you know.
So they do
Like,
the merch, they ship it out and stuff?
They do the merch. Yeah, my mom.
Wow.
She doesn't work full time anymore, but she'll do a couple hours a day and do merch and send it out. And so if you email, a lot of times my mom's emailing people back, and she loves doing that. She loves interacting with fans,
Yeah.
talking to people, and it just gives her a whole life.
Yeah.
That's so cool, man.
I'm gonna go home and order merch
You are.
from Mike's mom.
What about like a documentary about you guys?
Yeah, I mean, documentary about my mom. Let's do it.
Well,
She
just
does
about the
screen
band.
printing.
What?
We've done a couple. She does screen printing. Not
Yeah.
everything, because that would
Yeah.
be too much, but anything that's one color. We do a fan club that has, one design, and she'll do those. We'll do like kids shirts. She'll do those, like things like that.
So
Which
cool,
is
man.
so much more punk rock than I am
Yeah.
at this point. Like, yeah,
That's
my
cool.
mom, she's got she's tatted up everywhere.
Your mom is?
Yeah.
Oh man,
Wow.
he had to hide his first couple tattoos from his dad.
Yeah.
Now his dad's got all these tattoos.
Really?
Yeah.
That's so
They
cool,
embraced
man.
the punk rock culture eventually.
I love
Yeah.
that, man.
Yeah.
You guys, here's some serious questions out. Do you have any major regrets in your life? Regrets?
Probably. Yeah. I mean, I definitely have some, but
We have to talk about it. It's okay.
yeah.
I mean, like
I like how you keep looking
Yeah,
at
I
Tom
have
when you
some.
say that. By the way,
well, I like
What are your regrets, Tom?
I mean, some of the things that that we've done throughout the years. Yeah, maybe they sucked, but I mean, it's talking about like all the things we did with Tooth and Nail that we wouldn't take back because it made us who we are.
Yeah.
The whole thing made us go through and to be this way, and regrets signing to A&M. Like there was 3 labels we had a choice of signing with at that point. It was A&M, which we ended up signing with, Geffen, and then Columbia in New York. 2 of the 3 got folded into Interscope during the record cycle of our first album. So
That's right. You're
yeah.
right.
we had momentum going. Like the label A&M loved us, and we had our first single with Namaki Yorike on that. It was doing really well. We were getting ready to shoot another video, press a new single, and go to radio with another song. And then right around Christmas that year, everyone at the label found out they're getting fired. So it just stopped. And so going to Interscope, we sold enough records to not get dropped, but we didn't sell enough to actually really have anyone care that much. So we just got kind of hot potatoed around. No one cared, and we were just kind of lost in the corporate shuffle for the next 2 albums.
Yeah, as opposed to independent,
Yeah.
you like a priority.
Yeah.
I mean, the
That's
best
the
thing that
thing.
could have probably happened to us would have been to get dropped and go do records with Fat or Epitaph or something. That would have been
Yeah.
the best thing for us. But it was we were just in that range of we sold enough to keep us, but not enough to really care.
Did you feel like when you were with Tooth and Nail that you were Christian kids, but did you have to abide by certain rules to be the proper Christian that fans or people think that
Oh,
you guys were
no.
supposed to
Oh,
be?
they
a
hated
certain-
us.
No, everyone
I
in
would
that
smoke.
scene
I
hated
used to
us.
smoke cigarettes because
Okay.
I started smoking because I worked at Spiro's at the restaurant,
Nice.
and to get a break, you had to
Yeah,
you had to have a reason.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
If you smoked, they'd let you have a break.
No,
so I
that
started
whole
smoking.
that whole rule thing. Now, so
Go
when I
back
say
then.
everyone in that scene hated us, obviously not, because we had a bunch of fans that loved the band,
Yeah.
and all that, but the behind the scenes people, they hated us.
Like
Oh,
the
wow.
promoters, the people at the churches,
Oh, yeah.
or anything like that. But
You need to get up and have a ministry. Why? We're a punk band. What are you talking about?
Would you play at churches?
we play.
Some, yeah.
We do everything. So
Wow.
started out playing church basements and
For our area, you played a community hall,
Yeah.
a church basement, or someone's house. That was it. There was no rock clubs at Bremerton. That was all you played.
Wow.
Yeah.
So then you guys weren't stereotypical Christians by the book.
We're like bad
No,
Christians,
no.
you know,
Okay.
like punk, like we kind of like rebelled or whatever. But
So yeah,
I
smoking
guess-
cigarettes and just the
Yeah.
name Chick Magnet.
Yeah,
Maybe
yeah.
that's not.
little
They-
provocative
Yeah.
song titles and.
But that's
but yeah,
punk.
But so I would smoke cigarettes in the van,
Okay.
you know, hiding it from all the kids at the shows or whatever.
Wow.
I quit eventually, of course, but
Yeah.
I don't
You don't
recommend
look
it
like a
kids.
smoker.
I don't recommend it
Okay,
kids.
yeah, it's
like
bad.
it's bad.
We
Like,
did, I mean, we did a
like
lot of
20
things
years ago.
too, and it wasn't so much like because of the Christian thing, but like signing autographs. We didn't sign autographs for a long time because we told people like, we're just like you, we're just kids at the show, and like let's just hang out and talk,
punk.
and like
Yeah.
let's just hang
Yeah.
out and talk and do all that. But then like,
people hated us because of that.
well, so you get like
Jerks.
an 8-year-old kid coming up with a CD and wanting to get it signed, and it just not computing to them. There's like, this guy I looked up to is being a dick to me now. What the hell? Like, and so we kind of had to give up on it eventually. But for our first few tours, it's like, no, we're not signing anything. Like, we're the same people. Like, I go to these shows every weekend when I'm home. Like,
yeah.
Yeah.
so we're not special. And like, but like, you know, it just a lot of things we did were to kind of like be part of the group and the scene. It wasn't like, you know, we're special or anything like that. It
So
was
there was no pressure from the label to be perfect.
No,
Christian.
they didn't
No.
really pressure us in that way.
Yeah.
No.
No, Brandon
Um,
Vertooth was never like that at all.
They gave us some ideas here and there, like, hey, cover this song, but that's about it.
Yeah.
We didn't have to.
like a religious song or no?
Oh, yeah. I mean, like, we did it on the cover,
Okay.
which was an EP that
Yeah.
had, like, a bunch of cover songs on it.
Yeah.
Brian Adams,
2009.
Summer 69.
Oh, that's good.
That's
That's a
the
good
second
one.
one.
That's,
Fun.
that's a good one.
But we did, like, Keith Green, which is, like, a Christian artist.
Okay.
And it was their suggestion, like, do something like, it's like, okay, this song's cool.
We
So,
heard
like,
the
if
song,
you
we're
listen
like,
to
yeah,
the
this
real song,
works,
it
yeah.
sounds nothing like our version because it's like a contemporary, like, folk Christian song or something. But,
Wow.
yeah.
Because there's like
life
Christian.
is crazy.
Yeah.
Life is weird.
You guys are still here doing it though. It's awesome.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful thing, man.
It is.
You guys,
Yeah.
what's like a kind of a daily life when you're home off tour, like being a parent, or what's like a daily life for you?
Me usually going to the studio. So I spend my mornings with the kids and family, you know, unless they leave. So if they leave in the morning for something, I leave. But my kids are homeschooled.
Oh, awesome.
So we have a very flexible schedule. We can kind of go back and forth. Love it. We started doing that literally right when the pandemic hit.
Okay.
Not because of the pandemic. It was
It's the
because
timing.
it was just
when they get
timing.
old enough to go to school, right?
Just didn't have a place to
Yeah.
be. And because our kids go back and forth from Washington to Texas, it's like, what do? We don't, you know.
It's a lot.
Yeah, it is a lot. So I spend as much time as I can in the mornings with family, and then I go to work whenever makes sense. It could be 11, it could be 8, it could be anywhere in the morning there. But for me, it's embarrassing to say I don't really have a set schedule. Like, it's literally whatever I'm doing that day could change.
It's amazing, man. Yeah.
So, but I usually go to the studio, and that's where I do whatever. So if I'm just doing social media on my phone, just do it at the studio.
Yeah. What about like working out or coffee or any things you have to do every day?
That normally I should have said I go
wake up and
running in
work
the
out.
morning.
You run in the morning?
I usually
You look
do.
like a runner
I
for sure.
haven't lately
Yeah.
because I kind of got injured, so I've kind of been like waiting for my body to get
Yeah.
back.
How old are you
But-
now?
46.
Okay.
46.
Still
And,
young.
thank you. Thank
Looking
you very
good.
much. Thank you. But over the pandemic, I couldn't go lifting because I used to go to the gym.
Yeah.
And so things definitely changed body wise for me. I feel like a little skinnier than I used to be. But
You look good.
stretching, love that. I love stretching every morning.
Yeah.
Tom does yoga usually.
I do a ton of yoga now. Yeah.
Awesome, man.
Yeah, over the last like maybe 8 months, I started in like October. I started just like trying to like take better care of myself. Like realized I hadn't been to a doctor to have a physical since I was like a teenager or something. I'm like, I could be riddled with
Yeah.
cancer right now. I have no idea and just drop dead one day. I'm like, I should probably take care of that and like be ready to go and like fight it. If like instead of just like, hey, you're gonna die and you could have done something 3 years ago, but too bad you're dead.
So your
So-
whole life you didn't go to the doctor since
Not
you were
really.
young?
Not really.
Wow.
No, I just
You're the same age?
46.
Okay,
as well.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I started eating a little better, cut down drinking, and I started doing a bunch of yoga. And like, it was one of those things I always really wanted to do, but I didn't want to be that guy in the yoga class. Like, oh, you're just here to check out the girls. What are you doing, right? So like, my girlfriend and I started going, and we just absolutely fell in love with it. It's great, and we got this little community that we go to, and it's awesome. And I'm probably gonna join Shelter now.
Okay. How was your doctor checkup? Good.
Oh, it was great. Yeah, no, I'm super healthy. It's awesome. It's awesome. Like I got to do all the fun things like a colonoscopy, like super fun.
Oh, I did one of those too recently, man. You could do one soon, Bobby.
I'm getting up there.
I've never been put out. I've never been put under my whole life. I was
really?
so shook, and I did it. It was so easy, man.
You wake up just all goofed out.
I got the perfect vegan colon, man. It's perfect.
Yeah,
Nice.
It's clean as a whistle.
So a couple years ago, I was not. It's not about your colon.
Okay, good.
But it's about routines. I was hanging out with some buddies that are ex Navy SEALs.
Oh shit.
And we were hanging at my house.
Real ones.
We live on the beach, and it's not a sandy beach, but it's a rocky beach. Anyway, we go down there, and they're like, "Okay, this is what you do every day, if you can, just jump in the ocean, and if that's the worst thing that happens to you every day, you're doing great. Like it sets your mind, sets your mindset. And
real cold plunge.
And it's like 55 degrees, something like that.
That's all right.
Usually.
Yeah, it's good.
But I don't do that I did it for a month every day after that. But now I kind of do
cold showers.
I do cold showers.
Yes.
And today I was trying to do a cold shower, and it was not getting goes in the hotel. It's like hotels are the worst because it does not get cold.
It doesn't.
No. Not here in California, at least.
Yeah, cold showers are so good for you, man.
But it just wakes me up.
You know who has a cold
ready
plunge?
to rock.
I'm about to show you guys after this. Yeah,
Dude.
it's a life changer,
Dude,
man.
really?
It's a
That's
real
rad.
life changer. So cold plunge. Are you a coffee guy too?
I don't drink coffee anymore. I quit caffeine completely.
When?
A couple years ago.
Wow, how do you feel?
I feel tired.
I'm on yerba mate now because that's like a different
Different kind of caffeine.
Yeah, it's
See,
different.
I'm kind of down with that.
Me too. Coffee makes me
that.
crazy jittery.
Same. I feel dirty on it,
Yeah.
like a heroin addict.
Have to go to the bathroom. I crash hard.
I drink matcha now and again.
Matcha's great.
Not every day.
Okay.
But I can feel a little. I can feel it when I drink
Oh yeah.
that. Yeah.
Matcha's got caffeine.
Yeah. So that's as much caffeine as I usually ever do.
Was it giving you anxiety or like giving you?
I got a kidney stone.
Oh, from
Let's
coffee.
talk about it.
From not coffee, probably from energy drinks.
Well, let's talk about it. I'm supposed to be in Europe playing Manchester tonight, but I'm not there because Rusty is passing kidney stones.
Oh no.
Whoa.
So here we go.
This is Rusty
He's
drink a lot of
feeling
energy
it
He
right
drinks.
drinks
now.
a lot of coffee.
Whoa,
It's
whoa,
caffeine.
hey.
I'm not saying it's
caffeine.
because of it. Love you, Rusty. I'm not a doctor, but you tell me your experience. Because
Well-
caffeine with no water is bad too.
Yeah, I was doing the studio every day, and it was like I said, it was a few years ago, and I was doing more like other clients. People come in and record, and so I was just drinking these blue Rockstar drinks every day.
Wow.
And
I've
I got
never even had it.
addicted. I got
Okay.
addicted to it. Like I just couldn't go a day without. Sometimes 2, sometimes 3, and I know people that have passed away from drinking too many Red Bulls.
I heard about that.
Wow.
Stuff like that.
Yeah.
I've never tried Red Bull or any of those drinks. I'm scared.
So it hit me finally. I'm like, oh, why do I feel so nauseous and like terrible? And at one point, I couldn't even stand up or sit down. Like you're trying to get into a position that doesn't hurt, and it's just really hard.
It's gnarly, dude.
You can't really sleep. I mean, you can sleep, but it's weird. Yeah. So that happened to me. We had a show. It was like a week or so before a show in San Antonio. We were playing a festival down there and got on stage. The whole
your
time,
live record recorded in San Antonio, correct?
it was before that. It was
Okay.
before our live
Okay.
record. But we were
trying to be
flying.
cool,
We
sorry.
were flying down there. I had to pee like 4, 5, 6 times on the airplane. Everybody's looking at me like, "Is this guy a terrorist? Like, what's going on? He's gonna hijack the plane." But we did the show, and I was jumping up and down the whole show, just going crazy. And that night, the first pee I had, it was like fire through my dick.
Holy fuck.
God.
And somebody told me when you have these, you're supposed to jump up and down to get it out faster.
That's what I heard later. I
Yes.
think that's why I was jumping up and down.
So
I
the
was like,
rock, the
going
rock
for it.
came out?
A little. It was a little rock. I kept it. I put it on a little piece of toilet paper, and I went over. All these guys were eating at this like Applebee's type restaurant across the street. I
You
went
threw
over
it-
there and I'm like, look, it came out. You remember that?
No.
I don't know if I
but
actually
I'm glad
brought
I
it.
don't.
So you had one come out?
Yeah, one came out.
Yeah,
And then-
Rusty was going for a whole week, man. All kinds.
They
Jeez.
kept coming out.
And blood clots and blood. I
Whoa,
love you, Rusty. Shout out to
Rusty.
Rusty. I love you, Rusty,
Sounds
man.
horrible.
Yeah. He's all good now, but yeah, that's no joke, man.
Yeah.
You guys are convincing me to quit energy drinks right now.
Oh, so you
Yeah.
think it's caused by caffeine energy drinks and too much sugar, I heard. Who knows what? I don't know.
Yeah.
Diet changes everything, though.
Yeah.
I think
It
so.
helps everything.
That's what I mean. I lost like 50 pounds over the last like 6 months, and it was
Wow.
It was
50 pounds?
50
it was diet.
pounds?
It was all diet.
Wow.
What have you been doing?
What have you been doing? Yeah.
Just ate better and like more sensible portions. like I used to have like a breakfast burrito every day, and now I do like a smoothie every morning, like a banana smoothie. It's just
nice.
Yeah.
He's got me on the banana smoothies.
Nice.
I've been doing it.
Two-
I
would
make
love
them for my
those.
kids.
Chop up 2 bananas, freeze them, throw a couple cups of milk or whatever you're doing, and a little splash of vanilla, and blend it up. It tastes like ice cream, and I get to eat it for breakfast every day. It's
Yeah.
amazing.
You ever
It's
do
like,
cleanses and stuff?
never really done any of those. No,
I'm on my
except
sec-
for the
what?
I've done
colonoscopy
that.
one.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
on my
yeah.
second day juice right now. Just juice.
Yeah.
Just juice, yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna
How
try
you
to go
feeling?
for it. Good.
At
I
the
do
end
it a lot.
What does it
Yeah.
get? When does it get gnarly for you?
After my wife just left town today, so I'm by myself, so I can be a real grumpy asshole by myself. So day 3 or 4, it's gonna kick in.
Yeah, yeah.
And then I'll go like a week or 2. I did 18 days last year. I'm gonna try to do
Dang.
21 this year. Just
juice?
Yeah, greens. I have in the fridge
Wow.
greens and all kinds of juice and water and juice and my athletic greens, which I'll give you some.
Yeah.
They sponsor the pod.
Yes.
Just all healthy shit.
That's
I
right.
ran 5 miles this morning on a cleanse already. Yeah, I'm trying to push myself. I'm 53. I'm trying to go hard.
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah, use it or lose it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, you
That's
ever do
great.
juice
So
cleanse,
healthy.
Bobby?
I don't juice. I've never done it.
Let's do it.
I love eating so much.
I was doing a juice cleanse on tour.
That's gnarly.
In Canada, and when I realized I was an idiot, is these guys are all having like
I had to tell them
the
to stop.
best steak dinner, whatever it is, and I know you guys don't eat meat, but
It's okay.
just like a huge spread, and I'm like sitting here with my juice, like sorry, I'm on a diet. Like,
No.
No.
That's hard, man, when you're
No.
on people eating. Oh, go ahead.
He was on stage, and he was looking at me like, he's like, I can't, like, I'm falling. I'm like, because you're not eating.
Because he's exhausted.
Yeah, I'm like, you picked the worst time of your life, like being on tour to like, I'm just gonna drink this like water and cayenne and
do you get tired?
Oh, you did
Or
the
just
master
grumpy?
cleanse?
I
You
did
did-
master
Yeah, master
cleanse.
cleanse,
It's
yeah.
crazy.
It's gnarly.
Did you shart yourself on stage?
No, luckily no, I was good, but it just you get
well, you know
grumpy,
what,
like
you know what
said.
happened though.
Grumpy,
and you're
dude.
super
That's a
hungry.
weird one because that's like really nothing in there. It's like, what is it? What's in that? Cayenne pepper, honey. It's like a real
syrup.
LA kind of
Yeah.
one.
Yeah, it's like
'Cause
it's
there's
like
nothing
lemon.
It's
Maple
lemon
syrup, yeah.
juice.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the greens
maple.
ones, at least you're getting your nutrients. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? That one's different.
Yeah.
That's hardcore.
Bill Stevenson told us about that one, and that's the reason why I think you were doing it. 'Cause
Yeah.
like, oh, Bill
Bill
enough
wouldn't
for Bill.
quit. I'm not gonna quit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know Beyonce did it, lost like 35 pounds or something
Really?
a couple
Dang.
years ago. Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah, it's called the Master Cleanse.
Yeah, master cleanse.
So you don't cleanse?
That's
No, I mean, should I?
No, I mean you're healthy. You surf like every freaking second.
Yeah, but
I feel
know,
like you're
but
jacked underneath. You always wear extra little shirts.
Yeah.
I'm
I
not.
bet you're jacked when you surf freaking stuff. You a coffee guy too, Bobby?
No, I don't drink any caffeine.
Okay.
Yeah, I've
Why is that?
never.
Why?
I've just never. I don't like how I feel on
Edge.
it.
Wow.
And I also
edge.
I don't.
Yeah.
hard edge.
Yeah, that's not
Yeah.
bad. But I think I talked to you about this before. I have like terrible sleep as it is. I don't sleep much. So if I drink caffeine,
Yeah.
then I really don't sleep.
You're doing like 6 hours a night sleep.
No. 6 would be great.
5.
I'm like 3 to 4 a night.
Oh.
Wow, that's so
yeah,
bad.
I've been like that
tough.
since I was a kid.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't sleep.
Do you track your sleep? You know exactly what.
Yeah,
you're doing.
we have
See, that's-
like sleep pod. It's
Yeah.
called 8 Sleep. I don't know if you guys know.
I don't
8
even
Sleep.
want to know.
I don't wanna
like,
know
I don't
either.
want to know if I'm like getting 2 hours.
Are you a
or
crappy
something.
sleeper too?
I'm generally pretty good if I have the right settings, but on the wrong, like if there's something happening tomorrow that's really important, I'm not going to sleep well.
Oh,
Yeah,
no,
that's
your
for
mind's
sure.
going.
Yeah,
Yeah.
What
just
about
the
you?
anxiety of it.
I'm pretty solid. I mean, I lay down, I'm out. Like,
You
Sleep
can
anywhere?
Anywhere.
That's a superpower.
no, I can't sleep anywhere. Airplanes, I can never sleep.
Me
Okay,
too.
not
I can't
airplanes,
sleep on
yeah.
planes.
No, never.
That's the worst, man. Overnight flights, wide awake,
Yeah.
sitting there.
flying to Australia, just wide awake the whole time. Cool.
And then you get there and you're wrecked.
yeah.
Yeah, I can't sleep on tour. I take melatonin. It still doesn't work. It's rough,
Yeah.
man.
yeah.
Damn. You guys, optimist or pessimist?
I'm an optimist.
I,
for
I, can,
sure.
I feel
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
Even though I get grumpy, like you said, like
Yeah, we're human, though. We're not
but
perfect.
Human. Yeah, that's it. I forget that I'm human sometimes.
Yeah, but you guys believe in yourselves. You like never, give up on your shit, and
Yeah,
You know
I mean,
what I mean?
there's just there's no reason, like all that negative energy. There's no reason for it. It's not going to get you anywhere. You're not going
Yeah.
to solve anything by being negative. You're
Yeah.
gonna like if you're thinking positively and you're like acting positively, then it's gonna you're gonna make those better things happen for yourself.
yeah. What do you think the reason why you guys never quit, never give up, and still doing it and still love it at your age?
It's fun.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean,
that's
honestly,
the
not
number-
always
that's-
fun, though.
That's the number one thing. Because when the
Yeah.
business gets involved, it makes it. I hate.
I
the
hated
business is
I
rough.
hated
Business of
like
it.
having to have business meetings with the band. It was always the worst. But like
I hate it, man.
now having a day job, and like I tell him all the time, like when he's like, "Hey, do you want to get together and practice?" I'm like, "Practicing's like a highlight of my week. Are you kidding?" Like, yes, like I'm down. I'm always down. Like, let me know. Like, we do at least like twice a week now.
Honestly, I feel like making a new record, like this new record, is another thing that just keeps us together
Yeah.
and brings us together. Like we can kind of drift off if we're not doing as much or whatever, we haven't been playing shows a lot. We've been working on the record. So like we do have shows that are upcoming, but doing this record is like it's going to force us, even though we do want to hang out, it's going to force us to hang out with each other, to work on things. And that always brings joy to my life. I don't know about you.
Yeah, no, it's like I'm serious.
I know it's nice.
I go to the studio after work and we hang out and we play some songs and have a bunch of laughs and it's great.
I was gonna say, do you guys hang out outside of the band? Like,
Yeah.
I don't know if you're in a relationship, whatever.
Same.
You like go to dinners and
Not
hang out.
constantly.
Yeah,
It's not like we're double dating all the time. Or
Yeah,
nothing,
but like going out to the same shows or like, hey, I'm going to that show too. Cool. Can I get a ride? Yeah. of
Same.
course. Yeah.
Yeah.
That'd be so cool to be at a show and Mike and Tom are there.
Yeah.
He always
I would
picks me
trip
up.
out.
Right, I ride in the
I'd be
back.
like, holy
I'm the driver.
shit, the MxPx guys are at the show next to
At the
me.
local show in
Dude.
that town. That's crazy.
We just
Yeah.
went and saw the Queers. And
Nice.
yeah,
That's
so
And Tears
cool.
Wild Rocket.
And
Yeah.
it was like that. It was like us hanging out, watching the Queers. with
What
a
is
bunch
your
of other
day
people.
job now?
I work at a Navy shipyard.
Okay.
In Bremerton. So it's like the minor, the mill of our town. Everyone, like both our dads work there.
Oh,
and it's
that's
just like
cool.
Yeah.
everyone works there. And
What do you do?
I was a marine machinery mechanic. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Machinery
So you got some
mechanic?
skills.
Yeah. So like, working on valves and pumps and things like that on like aircraft carriers and subs and all that.
Oh shit,
Wow.
you're like a real person.
And you didn't go to college. This is like your first kind
No,
of
I
real thing.
bartended and played in this band before I worked there. So
Wow.
so you learn on the fly.
Was that kind of crazy transitioning into like
yeah,
like a citizen, like real life? Like
yeah, the first day I was driving into work, I was driving in at like 6:30 in the morning, and I was just like, "Am I making a huge mistake? What am I doing here?" But like, I got in, and like, I actually ended up like, I liked working on my car. I had an old Malibu, and like, I always liked taking things apart,
You're a
and
handyman.
seeing how they worked. Yeah, I always liked working on things and mechanical things. So I ended up getting in, realizing that's all I was really gonna get to do, and I worked with some really fun people, and I was like, okay, this place doesn't suck. This is all right, and then I get a ton of leave, so like going and doing shows, it's never a problem.
that's cool, man.
Yeah.
Do the people at work know about your
yeah.
other life?
Yeah, no.
Okay.
Everyone-
They must trip
everyone-
out.
Rockstar.
Yeah, there's like
anyone
a
who
rock
has
star
a
here.
band and a job, it's always, hey, rock star, every time, right?
It's true.
Yeah.
And then how do you,
Yeah.
is it weird describing your music to like civilians and stuff?
No, most of them get it, and
Okay.
if they don't, I'm like, like Blink-182, Green Day World, and they get that.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
I would tell people on the airplanes if they ask, "Oh, we're not as hard as Metallica, we're not as poppy as Green Day,"
Yeah.
because they don't really know like hardcore or that. Like,
Yeah.
Right,
Even
right.
Sib was saying it's kind of embarrassing talking to parents at school. Like, what do you do? He's all, I'm a tattoo artist. I'm in a band called Gorilla Biscuit.
Yeah.
Like, just saying that name.
Like you're in a band.
What's a
yeah.
Called
Gorilla
Gorilla.
It's different if you're saying Limp Bizkit because they're massive and people know,
Sure,
but
yeah.
like just hardcore, just what you do. Like, I don't know. In reality, becoming a parent and going to the school. I was serving
Yeah.
lunch at my son's school. They called me
Nice.
tattoo man. Just like being like normal in society.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you
It's-
always stick out.
It's a weird transition.
Like I said, it's just becoming a citizen. Just
Yeah.
You're the
a
cool
citizen.
dad.
A normie, whatever.
Yeah.
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 You're the cool dad.
Cool dad.
But
Yeah.
it's interesting. We try to explain like what you do.
Yeah.
Damn.
It's weird. I mean, I'm still doing this full time, and so it's like
You've been full time.
full time the whole time. I had
Wow.
technically the only other job I had since MxPx started was on the side of MxPx, and it was doing a podcast.
Yes.
I did a
Mike Herrera podcast. That's your
well,
podcast.
Mike Herrera. I don't consider that a job, by the way. That's
Okay.
just what I do as a hobby. But but I actually got hired by this startup, Deli Radio. They were called 5 years ago.
Yeah.
Maybe at this point it was way more than that. Actually, probably 10 years ago. But they hired me on the side, like not to do what I do with the Mike Herrera podcast, but like do this new podcast for their company only. Thing is it didn't come out on any of the podcasting streaming services.
Okay.
It was only on their app. So if you didn't have their app,
Wow.
you're not going to hear it. And when you played it, if you stopped it, you had to start it all over again.
What
Like
was
it was
such a
not
mess.
made
What is
right.
that?
And it was the whole point of this app was to like
Exclusive.
have local shows. Like I want to go to a show tonight. I'm going to look on my app and find the local show that's happening in my city.
Oh.
Yeah.
That kind of thing. So I did a podcast for them, and like I'd go to meetings. I'd fly down to San Francisco, go to Oakland to their offices,
Wow.
drink a beer in their offices and play ping pong. Like it was like a
Wow.
startup
Interesting.
from the early 2000s
Weird.
where people were just throwing money.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
I got hired by this other dude that I knew, Casey Schaefer, by the way.
Okay.
What's up, Casey? He always just like, he's like, I know a guy, and he called me, and I'm like, I guess I'll take free money, because it was during a time where Tom was sort of doing his thing, Tom and Yuri. I was just trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
And so I took a job that I could still do music on the side and do whatever I wanted, but it was technically a job. I got salary, and it was like 6 months long.
Probably get medical insurance.
I didn't get medical insurance.
Okay.
That's
one thing that's hard being in the band, man.
Yeah, I still
So
just pay
hard.
for my own, just
Same.
out of pocket.
Well, I
yeah.
get it through my wife's job now. I haven't had it
Okay.
my whole life though until we had our son. Yeah, we got him insurance, not us.
That's probably our biggest bill is health insurance.
Yeah, and that's the one thing.
Wow.
Like, there's no retirement for what we do. This is
No.
what we do. There's nothing like that. 401ks, none of that stuff.
Yeah,
It's crazy. The
401k,
dedication we
what's
put out
that?
for these kids, man, our lives, 30 years, you know what I mean, and more at doing this. It's because we love it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we can still be big kids and travel in the world and never really grow up in a sense. Even though we're parents and we own properties and we're adults, we're still big kids
Yeah.
doing what we love. Still getting
Absolutely.
tattooed. You guys still have lip rings. I fucking love it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm
I
saying?
know.
Like, we're still,
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You have like over 400 episodes of your pod, right?
Yep.
Damn,
Mhm.
that's it's awesome, man.
Yeah, I just started doing it because it was around the same time where they were busy with their jobs, and I was
Yeah.
kind of just trying to figure out what am I going to do until, MXPX gets going again or whatever, So I'm going to do a podcast.
It's awesome,
Be
man.
creative.
Still be creative, still therapeutic talking
Yeah.
to people. I love that, man.
Yeah. And honestly, me as a person, I'm terrible with people. Like, I'm not good socially, I feel like.
Okay.
So, like, forcing myself to get out there and talk to people I wouldn't normally talk to. Not that I don't want to talk to them. I do.
Yeah.
But being a little introverted, which is funny, being a front man.
It is interesting. There's a lot of musicians that are like that,
I
though,
think
too.
there's
When they
way
get
more
on
than we
stage, you're
realize.
like, that's where they feel. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's interesting.
But even on stage, I almost don't have to pay attention to the people.
Yeah, you can zone out.
I mean, I'm talking to
You have to
them.
pay attention to the lyrics.
You got to pay attention
Yeah,
to the lyrics.
yeah.
I'm paying attention to the general vibe of the crowd, but I don't really feel like I don't feel like they're staring at me, right? Unless I'm like completely by myself,
Yeah.
then I do. But
Get in your zone.
the acoustic thing. Have you ever done any? Do you play guitar, Toby?
No, I don't. But I
Yeah.
did acoustic once for something we did in New York outside in front of Frank's Chop Shop, the barber shop. We did a fundraiser, and my band played acoustic. That was interesting. We're not really unplugged kind of band.
Yeah, it's kind of rough. I mean,
hard.
This new record for MXPX, we generally have tons of songs that are great acoustically, and there isn't really anything that works well
Yeah.
acoustic. So we're trying to do promo stuff. I went to New York last week, and I had to like figure out a new way to do this song. So "Stay Up All Night" is our first single, and it's got a cool little riff to it, and it's cool. But I had to like tune it differently, and
Yeah.
because when I'm with these guys, I'm belting it out. I'm doing
It's way different, man.
it's way different.
Wow.
You had to tune it different? Cheater.
Most of the songs on this record are positive, but this one sort of kind of gets you in the gut a little bit if you really pay attention.
Yeah.
But,
you guys pay attention to new bands, new hardcore bands, what's going on, and the young bands coming up?
a little bit. It kind of
There's a
comes
lot
and
of bands,
goes.
man. There's a lot of shit going on.
Definitely
man.
hard to keep up. I know Drain has been killing it.
Yeah, we did a tour with them in March in Europe. They're killing
They
it.
were just up in Tacoma, I think.
Yeah.
But I haven't seen them play live yet.
Incredibly live, fun. Kids are bringing like blow up dolphins and like and like all these things to go in the ocean and beach balls. It's really, really, really super pop. And they're super hard, but they're smiling. I like how hard they are, but then they're just smiling. The crowd's having fun. Even though the breakdowns make you want to kill somebody, everybody's kind of dancing, It's interesting. But like, yeah, Scowl, we
That's
talk about
cool.
the Gel, Drain, Zulu, Praise,
Tsunami,
Speed. There's just so many bands, man. It's awesome. And Turnstile, obviously, they're like that,
Yeah.
Yeah.
But these
yeah.
are like kind of under the umbrella of Turnstile.
Sure.
All of their friends, they're rocking their shirts. It's so cool. And seeing Brendan play drums in Trapped Under Ice last week, his
So
original band. It's cool, man.
That's rad.
It's thriving, man.
Yeah, it seems like hardcore is coming back huge. And whatever the reason is, I guess Turnstile, but I don't know what led to that, So.
Yeah.
Right.
I think coming out of the pandemic, a lot of bands started like around 2019, 20. Like Speed has been around for a couple years. They blew up after the pandemic.
Yeah.
And just people being trapped for 2 years, wanting to get out and go to shows and seeing videos of mosh pits and stuff. It's cool, man.
Just get that aggression out. Yeah, let's go.
It's really cool to see it, man. It's alive and well. Any more questions for these guys?
I have too many. I'm not gonna ask
Just
anymore.
just give him another one. Give him another one, man.
I,
You love this band. Come on, Bobby.
I'm good.
Did we cover good stuff you want to
I
hear?
think so. Yeah. I feel like you guys ran the gamut.
Anything else
yeah.
you want to say to them or no? Or?
No, I mean, I wanted to talk about punk stuff, and I guess the last question I can offer is just talking about punk in general because of the style of punk that you did. And I guess this goes back to the punk rock, like the cred thing and the punk rock guilt thing that we talked about earlier. But the generation we grew up in, bands like yours and H2O's and Blink-182, the melodic side of punk, there was a lot of grumbling, especially as Green Day was starting to become such a massive pop band. And in the punk communities, I just remember people being like, are they punk enough? Are they not? You know, like, who is punk? What exactly is that? And we felt a lot of that in streetwear over the last like 10, 15 years because of Supreme, and that Supreme became like the biggest thing ever. And everyone's like, this was supposed to be an underground thing for us. And I feel like we're watching it happen with Turnstile. And Blink-182, you know, headlining Coachella. I don't know if I ever imagined that would happen. I didn't even imagine that would happen a year ago. I would have never have guessed that could something like that could happen.
Yeah, it was weird seeing them when Enema State came out, and like I'd seen them the year before, we were touring with them or something, and I went the next year and saw them headline the Gorge in Washington, which is just like I think 35,000 people or something, just craziness.
And
crazy.
So I don't know. I mean, there is no real question really, but it's more just a reflection on all of it, because with you guys, and I kind of started off the conversation talking about this, I felt like you were always really underground and core and like very authentic, you know, just the entire, I know even you were saying the first 3 albums of your discography sound different, but I feel like the entire thing is so cohesive, like it all makes sense together. And you guys didn't have a moment where you were headlining Coachella, and there was also not a moment where you disappeared and fell off.
True.
Like most of the bands I grew up listening to. And so it's just, you embody, you know, you cornered this one strange pocket, I think, of music where you've maintained authenticity. Your audience is like, you're beloved by your community still. There's so much brand cachet and integrity around MxPx. People say that name and they're like, wow, they've just stayed true all the way through and through of what they've done. Maybe this is just like my love letter to MxPx.
Thank you. That's cool
no question at all. But
Thank you.
Thank you,
it's just been really like amazing to watch. And I was, when I ran into you guys when we were here, I was trying to tell you about my best friend Billy and I from high school. It was the band that we had in common, and it was greater than a band, right? It was more than just the music we listened to when we would drive up Big Bear and go snowboarding and stuff. And we still talk about that. I'm like, yo, I listened to this today. And we're so old now. We still like, we have all these touch points emotionally with the band.
Memories, yeah, it's nice.
Yeah, it's just bigger than a band, you know? And I think there are bands that are just meant to be bands, and they provide good music and they have a couple hits. And then there are bands that really become like people's lives. And you've just always been like this soundtrack in the back of like my youth and my adulthood. You know, I still played around my kids, and so my kids now know.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
So
That's awesome, man.
That kind
great.
of stuff keeps us going. I mean, that's motivation to just keep rolling.
Yeah, thanks for
you.
doing it. Thank you guys for
You just
doing
giving
it.
the flowers, bro. They get the flowers
you.
just now from
Yes.
you.
Appreciate that.
That's from all the fans to you.
Oh,
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate it, man.
The kids thing though is really great too, because all the shows we play now, like you got parents bringing their like teenage kids who like are into the band too, and they're like the next generation. It's just so cool to see, and they're like,
I love that, man.
The parents are so stoked because they're like, my kid is into good stuff that I was into. This is great. You know?
Yeah, my kids know all the hum, like they hum along to all the hooks and melodies because it's always been playing in the house somewhere when we're driving. It's just I'm not cognizant of it, and I'm driving them to school and I'm just playing it because I'm in my own world. And then later they'll be reciting lyrics, and I'm like, "How do you know that?" They're like, "You've been playing it our whole life." You know, so it's just
That's so rad.
it's permeated culture.
It's cool. It goes generation to parents and stuff like
Yeah.
that. And it's still, I think that's something really beautiful about punk rock and hardcore too.
Absolutely.
And the internet helps with that also too. Just people just looking up bands. You know, we had to discover them ourselves back in the day through records or thank you lists or somebody's T-shirt on the back cover.
Oh, yeah.
Now it's just like you can find anybody's discography or. That's one big positive about the internet.
Definitely.
Like in staying in touch with what you guys are up to and just hearing the music and inspiration. And I like that now kids actually, the newer bands care about the history and the roots of where this came from. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And also something you said too about is it punk enough or that enough? The thing about punk rock and hardcore is like, well, we have each have our own definition of what that is, but there's no blueprint to any of this. You know what I mean? It's more than just the music and the lyrics, and it's our lives. You know what I mean? It's something that's like a spirit inside of us. It can't really be defined by like just us or our opinion, because some of the hardcore coming out now may not be what we thought it was when we were kids, but it's just generations hardcore. And I love it. I respect that.
Yeah.
I'm into the gatekeeping old head mentality. Like, that's not punk. I was never like that. I love new things and the diversity now is really happening in punk and hardcore that was sung about by 7 Seconds in the 80s is really happening now. You know what I mean? Like at the shows, it's so beautiful to see.
It's a golden age.
Yeah, it's a golden
in a lot of
age.
ways.
Yeah. It's just still here, and it still has the same meaning. You know, the memories and the meaning. So yeah.
I'm with you.
Well, thank you guys for being here. I appreciate it, man. This is
Thanks for having us.
awesome, man. We've met throughout the years, played together throughout the years.
Yeah.
It's just nice to sit down and talk to you guys, and it's awesome, man. You guys are great. You're aging well, and
Stoked to be part of it.
And punk rock keeps you young, man.
Thanks for having us.
Of course,
Dude,
man.
punk and hardcore keeps you young. This whole world keeps you young.
Yeah, sure does. Yeah, I was gonna say like being part of the hardcore scene. Not that we're part of the hardcore scene, but like just being in.
I mean, you're playing
hardcore.
Furnace Fest with Hatebreed. I mean,
That's true. I guess we are. And
It's
see, that's the mentality I've had my whole life. Is I guess I'm not really part of this thing, but we are.
Yeah.
We're all part of it together.
because one of my friends, like one of the hardest guys I know, you're one of his favorite bands. He was bugging you coming in the podcast. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, as soon as I mentioned MxPx, oh my god, I love them. Just people you would never know that listen to your band. You don't know who's listening.
It's that outsider mentality. Like we said, we're from middle of nowhere and up in Washington, so like always had that outsider thing. But it's crazy to hear the stories like that and go like, wow, really? That's
But I think
cool.
it makes you guys even cooler. That you weren't from this major place. You know what I mean? And you made your mark, and you're up there with all the other bands. You did your thing. You never gave up. You know what I'm saying? It made your own sound. And people like Bobby, who still listens to you, he's a grown-ass man with kids and an amazing company, and he's one of the hardest working, busiest people I know. And you took time to be here today because you love this band. They had an impact on you as a kid.
Thanks for making time.
It says a lot, you know what I mean, about your music.
It's wild.
It's
Dude,
awesome.
I can't even take credit for it, even though I write a lot of the lyrics, and it's just weird because it feels like it's not just myself. It's like part of something bigger that I'm kind of drawing from. Maybe that's even making it bigger than it should be, but
now you guys are the OGs now, though.
It's wild.
Crazy.
We started out as literally always the little kids.
Yeah.
That was literally why people know about us, is because, you got to know about this band because they're so little. Because if we were playing the songs we were playing as adults, it'd be like, these guys are terrible. But as little kids, it's like, okay, that's pretty good.
I mean, getting like a record deal playing in your backyard is pretty freaking crazy. I mean,
Yeah.
they'll come into your parents' backyard. That's insane, man.
It was wild.
First show. Crazy.
Yeah. So we, it was what, 90, that was 94, 90, well, no, probably 94 when he came to our
Yeah.
thing. But
And so online, you have MXPX.com.
yeah, MxPx.com. We have the new record up for sale right now. It comes out August 25th, so people probably listen to that after that, and it's out.
No, I'm dropping podcasts before that for sure.
Awesome.
You guys getting bumped up. And just know if you order merch from MXPX, their parents are folding it and packing it and shipping it out. That's one of my biggest takeaways from this. Your parents are so supportive.
Dude.
Still doing that shit. It's cool.
My parents were out of town all week, and they just got back into town, and my mom texted me. She's like, we have a shipment coming tomorrow for like shippers that the vinyl goes into.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, sorry, I forgot to tell you I'm out of town tomorrow. So like they're taking care of it all, and I'm not even there. And they'll just do it.
Awesome, man.
And I'm like, do you need help? They're like, no, we get it. All right.
So sick. They got locked down.
Yeah, when it gets busy, we get like friends. We all go over there. Like,
Yeah.
me and my girlfriend will go there and help pack things, or like other friends of ours will all come just show up and like throw a bunch of people at it. It's like a party.
It's ultimate DIY, man.
Yeah. We still do it
Damn.
even now.
That's
and we're like
cool.
headlining Furnace Fest and playing when we were young.
That's
and,
cool,
it's
man.
Just, it's wild.
It's amazing. The music transcended to our generations, and it's a beautiful thing. Hey, Chappelle, you here? Chappelle Lacey. I guess he's not. My boy was going to put up for a question. But yo, thank you for listening. Bobby, thanks for being here.
Thank you for
Bobby,
having me.
you need some caffeine, though.
No, I could use. I mean, I surfed for like 3 hours.
Oh,
this
today?
morning. Yeah.
You take naps?
No,
You
I'm
guys
so
take power
busy.
naps?
Not really.
It's
Once
hard.
in a blue
So
moon.
busy.
Yeah.
If I can, but
I respect the no caffeine thing. I think I'm going to try to step off my caffeine, man.
I mean, I would love caffeine if I could sleep.
Yeah. It's crazy. All right, guys. Thanks for listening. The record's out this week probably because this is going to drop. What's the record? 25th?
25th, which is a Friday.
So it drops on Monday. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. This Friday it's coming out. Thanks for listening. Bobby Hunt, you can find him anywhere. He's everywhere. Peace.
Okay.
You'll edit it in.
Yeah,
Okay, I had
Bobby,
one.
I'm gonna go pee.
Yes.
This is Bobby's turn now.
Okay, fine. Bonus scene. I just wanted to know why you stayed in Bremerton.
That's a good question.
I feel like Bremerton was always the fourth band member, right? It was just such a character in your guys' story, and it's cool to hear years later. I just assumed you had left at some point, but you're there.
Going there tonight. Yeah. I mean, it's where you're from. It's where you grew up, and like, it's a beautiful area. We got the mountains and the ocean. It's all right around there whenever you want. and it's close to Seattle, but we're still out on our own a little bit. It's just I don't know. It's home.
I feel like we were just going so nonstop touring. We didn't really spend a lot of time in Bremerton. So by the time we were like established, we're still living in Bremerton.
Yeah.
So it didn't make much sense to like move to LA to like get big because we were already big.
Yeah.
So I think that honestly is the main reason we didn't leave Bremerton, because we got big in Bremerton.
That's interesting.
There was definitely times where I think 1998 we were home for maybe a month. So just like, I mean, there's like a generation of friends. They're like, oh, do you know blah, blah, blah? I'm like, no. They're like, but you grew up around here? I'm like, yeah, but I was never here for like a decade.
Exactly.
I was gone all the time. Like, I lived here and I had a house here and I come home every once in a while, but we were just gone so much too. That was another reason why it just made it easy to stay there, is because we just always were gone.
Yeah. Is Yuri still there too?
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow, that is so cool.
Yeah.
I don't know. That just was like the coolest part of the interview to me.
Did they stay there?
That they stayed. Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Just
don't forget your roots, man. Those guys really live it. You guys are still there.
Yeah.
I'm sure you had opportunities to move places, but
yeah, I mean, I guess I moved to Texas too, but I still live in Washington. Another thing is we just, we started touring and seeing all these places that we're like, that's cool, but ultimately nothing.
I need to go to Bremerton.
Nothing stuck.
Yeah, me too. I think of Beaverton when I hear that, but
do they have like a day for you there? Like, does Bremerton like the city?
No, they should though.
No,
like you are the most famous thing that's happened in Bremerton.
We did get the key to the city once though.
All right, let's go.
We
For
got
real?
the city,
for real.
Yeah.
Wow.
They were doing this whole downtown revitalization thing, and they asked if they could use their song "Moved to Bremerton" for it. Yeah. We said sure, and they said, we want you to play this show. We said no problem, and they said, well, what else do you want? And I'm jokingly in the background, it's like, we want the key to the city. And like the mayor's people are like, yeah, no problem, we can make that happen. I'm like, wait, what? That happened? Really?
Yeah.
So when you guys, people recognize you a lot walking around there, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's all respect, all love.
Yeah. For the most part, yeah. I mean, I
can't remember the last time I had a negative one from it.
Oh.
Yeah, I think the negative people keep it to themselves now.
That's so cool.
No, they just say it online.
Yeah, well, there you go.
Yeah.
Any more questions?
Come
on, man.
No, we're good. We're really done.
You sure? I'm gonna hang up this shit and you have something else.
I'm done.
You sure?
Yeah. Let's go look at.
I know the major influences are Descendants for sure.
Descendants, Bad Religion.
So shout out to Milo right now too.
Yeah, Milo. That's right.
Seems like he's doing a lot better.
Yeah,
well.
Yeah, man.
That'll turn your life around a little bit. Like make you pay attention to some things.
Mm-hmm.
I love the friendship you can see too, because him and Bill have been posting those
I know
ones.
the videos from the
the
hospital, man. It's so cute,
so
man.
Yeah.
Damn.
Because you'd think of Milo as like this unhuman thing.
Speaking of Milo and them and their friendship, like maybe that's subconsciously part of how we stayed together so long, because our influence was the Descendants.
They were the model.
And they told us early on, do your shit, work hard, don't get all flashy, like just do this, and
those guys are brothers,
everything will be fine. Yeah. And so we kind of take that a little bit, to heart, as far as like be a rock band, be a punk band, and just work hard, and not get all caught up.
Stay in your lane, do your thing. Don't worry about it. Yeah.
And I'm sure we've gotten out of our lane a little bit, but
I know what you mean. Like not worry about what other people are doing, just do your thing.
Yeah, just do our thing. So
I mean, it's super important, man. I think if my band ever read like a bad review from the first album until now, who knows if or like every review or anything, we probably might not be here, but we just kept did our own thing and just kept doing it. You know,
it's the best.
It is, man. Like, all right, Bobby, this is it, man.
Okay.
There's no
all right, I'm gonna go pee.
Bye.
Guys.
I'm gonna throw these guys in. I'm throwing Bobby the cold punch. Bye. I always ask my guests if they have any regrets. I personally don't have any regrets. Even when it comes to my tattoos, I have the silliest tattoos. Even my ET on my leg, it's still a childhood memory for me, and I love it. I've had tattoos on top of tattoos strictly because I wanted more tattoos. I started getting tattoos when I was 18. I'm 52 now, and I can't stop. I've had laser treatment before on something on my arm. It's 4 tattoos on top of each other. And that experience at that place was pretty fast. It was pretty cold. It was in and out, swiped the credit card. Don't really tell me much. Didn't give me much details of anything was going to happen. So I never went back. So as of most recently, I'm so lucky enough to have had 2 sessions at Removery Tattoo Removal. My tattoo on my arm that looks like a big black blob is now super light. I've had 2 sessions. I have a long road ahead of me. None of this stuff happens overnight. You cannot take a tattoo up in one sitting. You have to be patient. And it's painful. They ice you up. It's super fast. To me, it felt like a bunch of rubber bands. But what's more painful than that is looking at something on your body that you think you're stuck with for the rest of your life. That sucks. But now for me, I'm really happy I started this journey. I'm slowly going to get this tattoo removed. I never thought in a million years I have any kind of real estate on my arm. I don't even know what I want, but it's exciting. I'm so honored to announce that One Life One Chance podcast is now with Removery. I have a code. Use TobyH20 and get $100 off your first session. Call 866-934-4570 or go to Removery.com. One of the most experienced tattoo removal companies in the world. Over 600,000 removal treatments done. 100 locations, U.S., Canada, and Australia. State-of-the-art peak-away laser technology, cryotechnology to reduce any discomfort. This is so exciting for me because all I do in these podcasts is talk about tattoos. From day one, if you've been listening to this podcast, we talk about tattoos, talk about getting removed, talk about getting covered up. So this is such a perfect fit for me. Once again, go to Removery.com or call 866-934-4570. Use my code TobyH20 and get $100 off. These guys are located everywhere. Try it out.